Hello, good afternoon, everybody. How's it going? It's been a couple of weeks. We are back with our regular kind of hangout and chat.
Yeah,
We'll see who jumps in with us today. We're
yeah.
back here again, always with Rasa. How's it going, Rasa?
Hello. All good, I think.
Yeah, good. It's been, I think we had 2 weeks off, right? So how have the 2 weeks been? Do you have like 2 weeks worth of books? Do you have a stack of books to talk about or?
Not really. To be quite honest with you, when we don't chat, I kind of take it extreme ease off of comics.
Mhm.
This week in particular, I think I have quite a thing read because I was really keen. It also doesn't help when you start showing me the book you get, like Doctor Strange
Yeah.
stuff. That just basically kind of pisses me off. Because I was like, shit, what is this? I had never seen it before. And
I've
as you
never
know,
seen it before either. Yeah.
Doctor Strange is both our thing. We
Yeah.
do like reading about it. So I convinced my husband to get me a week free of Marvel Unlimited.
Oh, nice.
Because if you sign up for a week, you get a week for free, basically, and then you will
Yes.
pay if you want to. But
Okay. And
I kind of
is it a monthly subscription or an annual, like yearly?
you can choose which, of
You can
course, if
choose.
you pay
Okay.
monthly it's much more expensive, but if you
Yep.
pay yearly, then it becomes cheaper for you, actually really quite cheap in like cost you first issue of Marvel sometimes a week. It depends.
Oh,
It's like there's a couple of options. I don't really
okay.
know much. So, but only the problem I have, I'm going all over the place, but the reason is I'm saying is I don't know if I would invest it like every day I would read digital comic books, because I find it
Right.
quite different in my psyche, what I keep, what kind of informations I keep. So I was just
Mhm.
wanted to read some Doctor Strange, to be honest, and the new Doctor Strange, and wanted to see why he was
Oh, right.
killed, but
Right,
which I
right.
can mention to you when we start talking
Okay,
comics.
cool. Yeah,
Uh,
that Doctor Strange book, I don't have it out here with me.
how
I've
dare
seen the
you?
cover. I've seen the cover around. I can get it while you're chatting at one point.
Hmm.
I've seen the cover online and stuff. I've never seen it in person, and I think that ended up costing me like $26 or something like that, $25. So not the cheapest, but I
Hmm.
mean, it was totally worth it. I mean, it's not like I don't have the issues. I think there's only no, because I think that's from volume two. I'm pretty sure I have almost everything. If it's not in like single issue, I've got like a reprint of what's in there. Still, it's great to have that. It's a fireside for those watching that don't know what the hell we're talking about. It's one of those fireside books that they did like Son of Origins and Bring on the Bad Guys, Silver Surfer. So this is the Doctor Strange one, and it's
Oh.
beautiful. It's really really nice. They did a whole series of them. We've got a couple of the other ones. My son has them in his room that we found.
Uh-huh.
Geez, I don't even know how long ago at this point. A long time ago, we found those at a
So,
used bookshop, but
so
they're
that
great
would
little
have.
collections. Really, really nice.
So that's what was my next question. What is inside? Is it reprinting something? So you just answered it. It is a reprint
All
of some
Ditko.
stuff.
It prints all Ditko, a bunch of Ditko stories, not all of
No.
Ditko, sorry, a bunch of Ditko stories, and then one last story is Barry Windsor Smith. They reprint one of
Oh,
his stories, and
wow.
I think that one is from volume two. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it's from like the volume two
Yeah. I don't. Yeah.
when he went off on his own there.
Because I have the omnibus of the first volume of that Doctor Strange, where it's
Yep.
everything is Ditko. It's just the beginning of Doctor
Mhm.
Strange story in that compilation comic book, which I'm now. Yeah, was it like Submer or something like, what is it called? Tales.
Uh,
Anyway, that's that.
Yeah, Tales to Astonish or whatever,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
with
yeah,
Chuck
that
Berry.
kind of
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah. Anyway,
right.
so and yeah, so I've never seen Barry Windsor Smith, so I presume maybe this
It's
volume too,
beautiful.
rather.
It's really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
just don't know which issue. It doesn't really give you a breakdown, or at least I didn't notice if it gave you a breakdown in it of
Yeah.
where certain things come from. And then
Uh,
Stan Lee does like little blurbs throughout the book, talking about doing his usual Stan Lee shtick, right? So yeah, yeah,
yeah. Okay, so that's good. So because I were
yeah.
wondering what is inside it, because most of my stuff like that printed, it's yeah. If you hear squeaking noise of my child, he's going to bed and he's not happy
Okay,
because, as you can
it's
see,
daylight out. Yeah,
but we have a blackout blinds, but he having a tantrum now, and he suddenly because he can hear my voice, he thinks that I need to also say goodbye, but he never does that. So he's just those one of the
right.
days. Hello,
Hello,
Donald.
Donald Rex. Hello.
Oh, so yeah, it's good.
So what else did you get up to in these 2 weeks since we had a little break there?
I haven't drawn anything, which is kind of
Oh, you
shame.
haven't, Kate?
Yeah,
Yep.
because I wanted to, but then my mind was very distracted of other things. I've
Hmm.
been doing a lot of gardening, and I've been concentrating on
Nice.
that quite a lot,
Yep.
because it's kind of like a thing now for me. I guess I really enjoy it.
Hmm.
Never thought I would have when I was younger. I definitely didn't care much about it. But now it seems to be that bug of my mum's. When it comes to gardening, it's got into me really deep. So
Right.
it's been like something of like a retreat and pain in the ass sometimes, because when
Yeah.
a thing doesn't grow, and especially the
Right.
temperature differences, that really annoys you. And I think
Yep.
there's another thing what you have to basically more learn is that your temperature and the weather will never be as predictable as it used to be.
Right.
With all these changes in atmosphere, you can actually basically clearly experience it now. You can't really say that nothing happens, because it isn't
Hmm.
true. Like you can basically feel it. But yeah, so that's where. And then my son is taking him to school, coming back, and I haven't really. I think I have like a hay fever thing happening to me, so
Hmm.
I'm like feeling like a little bit unenergetic. So when reading comes, so I read. If I read, I really it makes me sleepy. It's like a
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
good remedy for me to go sleep.
Yep.
Not that it bores the content. It's just actual.
No,
It just
you
actually.
relax.
Yeah, exactly. Just makes me like it soothes me down to point. So I think that's so I
Yep.
took it really easy the week before that last. So yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I really wanted to go to watch the movie, but then I
Yeah.
like no, I wait for one more a month, just because I like like expenses and all that stuff, and I was just like,
It
but I
really
don't
is.
want
Yeah.
to hear spoilers, and I think I heard a couple already.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Maybe, I mean, I'm not sure. Me, like I
Right.
kind of it gets some information, and I'm not sure. So it's only gonna get verified when I'm gonna actually watch the movie. But I'm really curious because I think I heard good things about it, but I'm not
Hmm.
sure. So
You're talking Guardians of the Galaxy, yeah?
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
big
we
one.
haven't gone to see it yet either. I have a feeling
Yeah.
this is going to be the first one in a long time that we actually wait until it comes out on Disney. We just can't. Like, it's expensive going to the theater, man. Like, it turns into like $100+ evening
Oh
tickets, and you get
wow.
snacks and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's expensive to go to the theater. I mean, my wife was good with like going to like the dollar store and buying treats and smuggling stuff in and things, but you always you still end up spending some money, right? Like, so it,
Yeah.
it 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 adds up seeing it on the big screen and things. So I just think that as much as I want to see it in the theater, I just don't think it's going to happen. Plus, she's working right now. She's on a movie right now, so
Oh.
her schedule is a little up and down. So it's
Mhm.
not easy to coordinate. So we may have to wait for this one, which I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. It's fine. Ultimately, it's fine because it's only a movie. It doesn't really matter. But I do like it becomes a tradition, as I've talked about before. It's kind of our
Mhm.
family tradition that we go and see them as together. But I think it might just be best this one to wait until it comes on to Disney and we can watch it for. I mean, we've got an account, so we can watch it
Yeah.
basically, quote unquote, for free. So
Yeah, it's gonna be a while until they're gonna get out
it's
of
gonna
it,
be a
because
while. Yeah,
they took
totally.
a really long time to get this Ant-Man movie out. Or think is it out
Okay.
already? I don't know
I
if
think
it's
it is
been.
now on Disney. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
so it's gonna be a while till you get that Disney stuff. But so how much the tickets? Like $20 a pop, I
Ish.
presume.
Yeah, approximately.
Oh,
Yeah. Yep.
that's quite a lot
And then
because
it's a little bit more if you decide to go to see like the 3D one or you go to the
yeah,
IMAX screen. And
yeah.
some of them, like we don't do that all the time for them, but sometimes I like to go see the 3D ones or whatever, or seeing it on the IMAX screen is pretty amazing because it's just, you want to make it an event, right? Like we usually save up. It's like the one thing that we go to see in the year is the Marvel, or 3 times a year, I guess. And that's
Mhm.
kind of our outing to the movie theater because we don't go to see anything else. So we sort of
Yeah,
save
yeah,
up
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of for that kind of experience, right? So
Mm. Well, the
yeah.
thing is, the cinema we want to go is £10, which
Mm,
is much more posher. And it's not as
yeah.
expensive as other cinemas. Like London cinemas are more expensive, but we haven't been in London for ages, so that wouldn't mean it would be something I would go anyway to. While I was living there, I've definitely have gone to, but there's another. We went to another cinema which is cheaper, because we were
Mhm.
taking my child.
Okay, yep.
Remember I said to you we went to
Yep,
Mario
I do
movie,
remember, yep.
and it was absolutely a fantastic little thing, and he
Uh-huh.
absolutely adored from minute till the start to the end. He just
That's
really was
awesome.
annoyed by ads, like, where's Mario, where's Mario? I was like, we
Right,
have to
right.
wait for this annoying stuff first. But yeah, we preoccupied him with a lot. We ordered popcorn because no, it's the first time.
Nice.
We went all in for him, like
Oh, yeah,
special
you got to,
box.
yeah,
Yeah, of course,
absolutely.
you have to make it special. We don't. It's
Yeah,
the first time. Let's make an impression on the kid, which
yeah,
we definitely did, and he absolutely loved it. He loved to have his own stuff. He could not stop like really eating, and we were like, "Oh my god, we're gonna run out like fast."
right,
We kind of
right.
had to share our stuff as well with him because
Yep,
but yeah, he loved it. So
that's
that
great.
cinema somehow it's cheaper because it's not really great, to be honest. It's kind of like it's like the tattered it's very popular because of the pricing first of all, but the chairs are worn quite badly sometimes.
Uh-huh.
The middle ones, because people want to go look straight, those are the worst. So you
Yep,
basically pick up the next to the middle one, so you don't like it depends where you're sitting and stuff. So that one is
yep,
like £7 per person, so it's nothing, in
yeah.
comparison to like yours, like £20 would be a
We had
ticket. I would be even thinking twice before I would go.
we had one downtown. It's closed now. Unfortunately, it closed within the last year. It was called the
Mm,
Town Cinema 8, and it
mhm.
was a fantastic theater to go to. It was $5.25 Canadian for a
Yeah.
movie, but it was a real, like, it's
Yeah.
downtown, so it's a
A bit,
little sketchy. The
yeah.
audio comes from, like, behind the screen. It's that the seats are shit, but it's one of those theaters where we would go, and it's one of those where it's kind of mandatory to bring booze in, so you sit in the
Mm,
back and you get drunk and you watch a movie, and it's five and a
yeah.
quarter, and it's now closed because nobody was going to it, because every time you would go it was empty. There would, even a new release, me and my buddies went, the bowling team went, there
Mm,
was us, four, and there was
mm.
maybe four other people in the theater, and that was to see Northman like the week after it came out. So it just was a theater that people didn't go to, so, which is unfortunate because it's so much fun to go to those old theaters.
Yeah.
But now it's gone,
Well, yeah,
boarded
also
up
this.
and closed.
Yeah, the cinemas are better. I mean, like Mario movie had it's the first time since the pandemic. I felt like there was quite crowded because there was quite a lot of people in the cinema,
Mm,
and I
mhm.
was like thinking, like it's still the back of your mind. It's still there, and it's never gonna go away.
Right.
But we honestly enjoyed it, and it being that many kids inside, I was thinking it's gonna be way too noisy because everybody's
No way,
and
man.
yeah, my son was like really getting excited. So you get those excited squeaks when something really amazing happens, but then
Yep.
everybody's like just concentrating to watch because it actually really was well made, and I was surprised how
Mhm.
much as an adult I enjoyed it because I was
Yeah,
really.
that's
It's fun. It was really fun. They had really good. Oh,
right.
another thing I'll tell you. I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but the music they picked was really good for older generation. Let's say this way.
Yes,
So they
right.
had this like a quite a like 90s 80s like famous hits, but like it makes it nice to see it on a fresh kind of like kids staged movie with that kind of
Right.
sort of music. And of course I think Jack Black was the Bowser's song he was singing is the main one, and it was a bit
Of course he
kind of
was, yeah.
yeah, because but it was, I mean, the way it was portrayed in cinema, it was, as a Bowser was actually really suited. So I don't know,
Mhm.
maybe that's how it would really work. But I'm not mad about Jack Black, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
With
he's amazing. I think he's great.
yeah, he's a good, like really good musician as well as
Yeah,
an actor. So yeah,
yeah.
it was really good to see all that stuff. So yeah, it was a very good
Yeah, I've heard
experience.
nothing about good things about that one. I've heard nothing but good things about it. So, and
Yeah.
that's also part of the fun, going to see that with it. When the first SpongeBob movie came out a lifetime ago, me and my girlfriend at the time went, and we brought, uh, actually, no, I think I was with Jessica at that time, if I'm thinking the years properly. So my son's mom.
Hmm.
So we brought friends of ours, kid. So just
Hmm.
to give us an excuse to go see the movie.
Uh-huh.
Being in a movie theater for a movie for kids with
Hmm.
kids, it was an absolute blast.
Yeah.
It was so much more fun because there's one scene. I don't know if you've seen the first SpongeBob movie. His pants, something happens, his pants rip and his butt comes hanging out of his pants. The kids lost their shit in the theater, and it made it so much more fun because they were just laughing because they could see his
Mm.
butt. It was so entertaining, really
Mm.
good. Yeah, so it's,
Ye-
and again, that's the fun of going to those theaters and going to see that stuff. It's like going to see a horror movie with
mhm.
a room full of people. It's so much better because you get everybody reacting and screaming, and like becomes like a roller coaster ride.
Did you hear there is this? I think it's Amazon who released this TV show where like a horror TV show, I would never watch, but I just keep on reading saying that people can't finish the series because that's so bad, so
Oh,
scary that
oh, really?
people can't even sleep afterwards. They like really like blanket their eyes completely just
Right.
because it's absolutely terrifying, and
Right.
and even those the horror like whatever the ones who really enjoy it, they're saying
Horror
it's
fans,
really good
yeah.
horror, like they really excited, but apparently nobody like can't even finish the series. Apparently, that's
Wow,
what I've
wow.
been reading. I don't know if it's like a truth because I'm
Right.
not sure. It's you know oh my god, why I'm blanking this stuff? I see the man's face, and he's from those shows like you know that disappointing show about them being casted away from the plane crash. What is that show called? The doctor.
Lo-
Bloody
Not
hell.
Lost. Are you
Lost.
talking
There
Lost?
you go. The
Yeah.
Lost. So the
Yeah.
African American guy who is been there as well. You know the actor
Right.
I'm talking about? I don't know his name now.
Vaguely, it's been forever since I've seen that
So
show. It's been
if
so
you know
long.
who I'm talking about, he's there in that horror.
Okay. Hmm.
So he's a really good actor though. I mean, I really
Hmm.
enjoyed it, and then he's kind of believable all the time. When something really bad happens, like he has that face where he gets like really. And there's this. I only seen like a still
Yep.
of one of that show, and I was like, no, I'm not watching that. That was enough for
Right.
me because I'm not.
Yeah.
I can't stomach the horror stuff, so I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
even want to even. And even they saying that stuff, that's even worse for me. I mean, like, how can
Yeah.
you? Why would you put that yourself through this kind of stuff if you just
Right.
like
Yeah.
completely can't even finish
That's
like and people apparently switches to tell it off just to digest
hilarious.
everything or pause it
That's
and stuff like that.
hilarious.
So I don't know
Yeah.
what kind of TV show is that because
It sounds like a good one, is what it sounds like.
yeah, it's a pity when I always do live. I don't remember anything.
Yeah, that's
what I'm
right.
trying to talk about. Hey, Jackie.
Hello, Jackie.
So yeah, it's kind of weird, but yeah. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the only thing. I haven't nothing new coming. That is really interesting to me anymore. I'm kind of
Right.
watching whatever I haven't seen, some detective shows, like your atypical stuff, but
Hmm.
nothing really comic related. To be honest, Disney has not been in my viewing anymore because, as I say, I just like we have it, we stop, and then we can maybe gonna have it again. We never know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and apparently canceling some shows from there. They're joining with some other in America. At least I heard that they're joining with another network. So they're
Oh,
gonna
really?
basically spread the kind of because by Disney itself, it's not making enough money for them. Apparently,
Oh, okay.
not enough people subscribing to it. Oh
Prepping for a
my!
solo camping trip tomorrow. That's amazing, Jackie. Are you going like deep backwoods camping, like survival type camping, or what's the story there?
Like that show Alone.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you know that show Alone where people
You
like
just
just
go. I've
left.
heard
left
of it. Yeah.
They left in British Columbia. That's how I
Yeah.
found
Yeah.
out that
Yeah.
you have rainforest in Canada because of that show.
You just
Um,
go.
yeah, and then so they dump you in the middle of nowhere where the bears and wolves and everything, and you have to
Yeah.
survive.
Yeah.
Are you doing that, Jackie? That would be interesting. It's like,
That
oh
would be
yeah, I'm going
amazing.
on the show.
Yeah.
Would be cool.
I'm doing a
Anyway.
little solo camp
Okay, make sure you just
in the
have
middle of nowhere.
an axe and
Right.
and I don't know where else you go. Well, in America, you probably have a gun, I guess. Protect us, because I'm not sure. I will have an axe. That's the only thing I can think of
Right.
of the protecting a weapon thing. So,
Right. You just got to keep a fire going. That keeps most animals away.
yeah.
The
Well,
fire. I mean,
yeah.
like I said, most, not all the time, but
Yeah.
that's one of the
Yeah.
that's one
Yeah.
of the tips. The fire is going to generally keep you a little bit safer.
Yeah. Get as close as possible, but not close enough so your butt doesn't burn.
Yeah, that's right.
Actually, it did happen to me.
Backwoods of eastern Kentucky.
Wow.
Nothing but me and deer, squirrels, and coyotes. That's amazing. That sounds so great.
Yeah. It's a bit scary as a female. I mean, I'm not
Right.
that brave to go but yeah, if you're brave man, like a man, so yeah, you can go for it.
Yeah, I've never been on a solo camping, but I've camped since I was a kid, but I've never been one where it's just been me. Me and Jaden went a couple of times when he
Mhm.
was younger. He was probably about, I don't know, I want to say like 8 or so, 7 or 8. And that was a blast. I mean, it was a lot of work, especially with a kid there. It's so much more work, on your own is on your own. You just have yourself to worry about. But when it was with Jaden, it was like, oh my God, I was wiped out by the end of the camping trip. I think we only went for a few days, but I was wiped out because it's so much work, making sure that he's okay and making sure he's eating and, all these things to like focusing on his security, that it was like, I'm pooped. I need a week holiday after that.
Mm. Yeah, that sounds good though. Quiet.
Yeah, super fun.
It's yeah, and then but the area is going to be fantastic. Most of the places in America looks like foresty areas, or camping where people go is kind of amazing to look at still.
Yeah, totally.
No, I'm kind of jealous now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it alone though.
Right.
I will take somebody with me, so because I would freak out.
Yeah.
I'll be that with the camera and the flashlight. Help me! I don't know why I'm here by myself. And then one of the whatever bird squeaks, and you jump from one place to another one. It's like
terrified. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to start us off with something you've read this past little while here?
So shall I? Let's start with this digital endeavor called Marvel Universe app.
I'll be back in 30 seconds. I'm going to fill up my water.
Okay, cool. Sorry guys. Let me. Oh my God, why is not showing me what I've read? Oh God, sorry people. Where is it? Oh no, I really don't know how to use this stuff. And I am being okay. So I'll just talk about. Okay, I'll start with this, even though I don't want to talk about this in particular issue. But this is the. I've been dabbling. As I mentioned earlier, if you haven't been here, but I had this Marvel Unlimited app, and I want to get into Doctor Strange a bit more on the new ones, and I wanted to read why Doctor Strange has died. And this will be a story after where Clea becomes Sorcerer Supreme, not by choice, but because while dying, Doctor Strange has bestowed her with his Sorcerer Supreme things. Wow, I'm talking really nicely here. I don't know what's going on. My library. Maybe that's where it is. My lists. Nope. Following. Nope. What is going on? I'm really feeling like stupid now because I've read it. I don't know where it's the things I read. That's why it's this app it's.
Oh, it doesn't like save it in a separate kind of section or whatever.
It doesn't even show you where you read.
Right.
What you read because you see I don't use it often, and it seems to be I wasn't prepped enough to tell you what I was because I read the death of the Doctor Strange.
That's right.
That was an event where you said you weren't understanding what's happening.
Yeah, no,
actually wasn't a
clue.
Now it's not working.
Was it good? Like, was it an enjoyable read, or was just?
It was actually. So I finally found it. It wasn't like really. This is a very nice cover. First cover.
Yeah, beautiful covers on them. I remember.
Yeah, and this Jed MacKay, Lee Gerbert, Lee Gerbert, Antonio Fabella is colorist. So Lee Gerbert is the artist, and Jed MacKay is the writer.
Mm-hmm.
So strange. It starts with like this. We have this nice chapters going on in here, and we have Doctor Strange lying around, and he's like basically talking to you, and he has this ghost dog who he's taking for walks, or he's basically the ghost dog is making him go for walks.
Right.
And he's just basically having his days, really happy, reminiscing. But he wasn't realizing, like all this too good to be true kind of day. everything's smooth. He's Doctor Strange. He has all sorts of things to do, and whatever, which is very surprising for me. Something happened, which I didn't know, but he got his hands back, and he's now surgeon again. So
Oh,
he's
really?
doing both stuff now. So he
Right.
was doing both, being a doctor, which he was kind of like scared because he got his hands back and he feels like he's a student again. But then he's still a sorcerer supreme, and he has to. So I showed this, but he has to take care of people again. And the art is not bad either, to be honest. I actually enjoyed it. I think it's becoming kind of a thing for like Marvel look to it.
Yeah,
When I was
absolutely.
reading the X-Men stuff, by Hickman, they had kind of a similar look to the characters and stuff, but it has this moments where the Doctor Strange doing this Eye of Magamoto to find out who is
Right.
being possessed and stuff like that. That's really nice, to be honest. And all this like he's taking scissors to cut off the being is being basically used by, because this dude was trying to get the powers from free beings. Also, they had mentioned in this issue about his Strange Academy, and this is the son of Dormammu.
Yeah. Because there
So
was a
which
series
is,
of that too, wasn't there? Strange
yeah,
Academy.
Strange Academy, which is kind of cute, to be honest, and I wouldn't mind reading that. I kind of like it. I think Wolverine and X-Men is another series about the kids in schools, X-Men schools, but particularly, that really kind of like something I really like also. And then Rasputin, she was part there because I didn't realize. I guess I'm kind of like forgetting stuff, but she is Sorcerer Supreme of Limbo. Did you know that? That she's there was, so basically what's in
Yeah.
this story tells you that
Clea was, right?
no, Clea is not Limbo. There's like several. There's about 7
Yeah.
entities or realms where people they have Sorcerer Supreme. So
That's right.
apparently they have
Yeah, that's
6 of
right.
them.
What the
So
heck was she then? I'm trying to remember from this
yes,
new thing. They listed it, but
her uncle is is a Dormammu as well, isn't it?
yeah. But I mean, she in the one that I was reading, the newer one where he's
Yeah,
back and everything. She's the sorceress supreme of
yeah.
something, and I just can't
I'll
remember
show
what the
to
heck
you
it
that one
was.
as well. I dabbled in this one as well.
Okay, yeah.
So we see this, okay, and he gets murdered after the first issue. Dr. Voodoo is here. You have that girl. I think you're familiar with her if you read any of Jason Aaron's runs of Doctor Strange. Are you familiar with that librarian student he had?
No, I haven't read any of the Jason Aaron Doctor Strange. Not at all. Like, not even.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
even think I tried out an issue of it, to be honest.
And then you have Baron Mordo appear. So once again, because somebody killed Doctor Strange, so everybody needs to know. And that
Did I see
Khalid,
Brother Voodoo in there as well too on that previous page?
yeah, Brotherhood
Yeah,
is in this one as well.
crazy.
And from the movie, the guy who was trying to also waking up the portal to the Dormammu to come pass through, the
Yes.
Calais. I don't know how you
Yeah.
pronounce.
Yeah.
So basically they go like into saying, oh, you murdered, like the Wong is getting like completely crazy about it. And what happens, because he's deaf, Avengers are getting in touch with him because he's apparently a part of Avengers as well. And they're saying that lots of people coming through to live, being part of a Earth, because they're in hiding. So because of death of his, things are like the warlords of other universes, I guess, or like there's a limbo, there's the darkness part of it, like opposite. So I don't know how you call them. Anyway, so because of that, the events basically started, and nobody knows who killed it. And to our surprise, this person comes through, and you're like, his costume is different. He's not really a Sorcerer Supreme. So if you're a Doctor Strange fan, you probably wouldn't. This is the young Doctor Strange. So apparently, what
He's
Doctor
got those great
Strange,
gloves.
yeah, exactly. What he's done is he basically took away part of himself from the youth and hid it in order to, when things like this would happen, that he himself comes in to solve his own demise or something else happens. And then you have this thing saying, rest in peace, Doctor Strange. Next issue will be this. and it's basically continued for him to discover who was the murderer. We do find out. It's really, to be honest, I was into it while I was reading. It started to explain us about the warlords who took over parts of the earth, like Cornwall, like even mentioned Antarctica, and all of them, like the Umar, the Tiboro, and they start those kind of creatures. Like, it seems to be I have not yet dabbled fully into Doctor Strange to understand all of this stuff. But it was after you don't get confused while you're reading the story, by the way. It's actually quite explanatory to itself. From the main story is 5 issues. There's some other issues, of course, because they're mentioning him probably like in Spider-Man issue, and there's a checklist you can go through. But I went through reading this whole story of the 5 issues of the event, and it was, like as I say, sufficient enough for me to read and stuff. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was, as I say, maybe because I'm such a fan of Doctor Strange, and it also an interesting thing is when Clea appears, she appears because of some other it's called 3 sisters, who are the baddies of the baddies, because they have a child they need to feed, and they look like these.
Cool. Yeah.
So it's really kind of involved, and there's lots of kind of information, but you have Avengers Assembled happening in here. But it's honestly really entertaining to see how helpless Avengers are, because when it comes to magic, I mean, I know you're strong and stuff, and Thor has these powers, but they're not good enough for them because they are extra entities. Like, they have extra powers, extra magic, which, like that. This is kind of freaky. They have these tentacles, they shoot stuff at them as well, and she kind of eats with those tentacles, one of the sisters. And it's just crazy. And they have to feed their child, and the child who we need to feed is only the magic people. So, like, they were hunting Clea because she's one of the strong magic beings, and that's the only thing what would satisfy their child. So yeah, it's really entertaining read. So yeah, 5 issues of these, and yeah, if you can get hold of this,
just 5 issues, that was it?
Yeah, just 5 issues. Right. As I say, there's more, like, like there's a checklist of the series you read.
Yeah.
Give me a second. It's really difficult for me to learn. I'm still not sure what I'm doing. But oh yeah, we can do that even. There's a checklist, and there's quite a lot of issues. I thought, like, this will follow. And by the way, in here doesn't follow you through the whole checklist. You actually have to go and search for each issue if you wanted to complete the whole event. But I just wanted to read and I wanted to see how
story or whatever.
Yeah, it seems to be nothing happened that I would not misunderstood the whole series. And the reward was good, because the way they was telling the story, you felt they have a solution for his death and he would be all right, because, as you know, there's always a spell to use, but there's a something you need also. This is the last issue cover, which is nice.
Yeah, great covers, man.
Yeah, and there's also, you always have a solution for him to bring him back, but his younger self have found a real killer, and why the person wanted to do it. And they actually, spoiler alert a little bit, but just make it more interesting, they wanted to make sure that Baron Mordo would be the bad guy, but he wasn't. But who did it, I won't say, because it would not make sense. And then it's kind of, I honestly really, as I say, very entertaining read, to be honest. I was surprised how much I enjoyed that. So 5 issues. It shows like this.
Yeah, that's cool. And to also, like, see what exactly was going on. And I mean, it's the kind of thing that I might read digitally, because I don't know if I'd pick up the issues, try to find the issues. It might be something.
Yeah, you probably would. I mean, for you probably can find it, because this came out when is 2021. So you probably
pretty recently,
already. Yeah, you can probably already see them in like a cheaper bins, to be quite honest with you. I mean, if you have the comic book shops to go to. But if you are a fan of Doctor Strange and you want to understand why they killed him, then what's the purpose of that stuff, and I read that first issue of Clea, that one you showed as well, and you didn't really understand. When you read this story, you definitely can understand what's happening.
Makes more sense. Yeah.
And then she was talking to, because what Doctor Strange was doing to Clea, I think basically sold her to when one of the battle. I don't know if I've read that event, but there was an event where Clea had to be sacrificed in order to win. And Doctor Strange, no matter how much love he had for her, kind of used her in order to win against the bad guy.
Yeah.
And it was like, and she had this grudge, and she's still in love with him because, at the end of the day, but because she's not human, and because she's part of the warlord's kind of DNA, which is extraterrestrial, like how we call it? Oh, I don't know how to pronounce that word. Palatine or something like that, some extra entity.
Philistine.
Philistine, there you go. So she's that kind of creature which is not human. So she's not really has like he thought like, well, she's extra kind of powerful enough so I can kind of sacrifice her in order to win. But then she kept that grudge with him, and he's like, and she's coming back seeing him dead, and then his younger self comes in who doesn't understand. He doesn't have the history. He's a younger one he's before Sorcerer Supreme, so he doesn't understand what's happened with the whole history. He's like, I'm lost. I don't know what the hell I was thinking about taking myself as a younger version of me, but what the reason he took it, because he was kind of like cocky in that time and era. He was like, everything can be beaten, everybody can be won against. He still had that that feeling of him being like, I still can. I'm one of the best magicians anyway. Kind of that. Kind of like a teenager is like, I can do everything, and he's like, dude, wait a second, you haven't learned all of this shit yet.
Right.
And he's the one who's basically trying to be the one who is solving the murder. So it's kind of like it not only gives you a magic, but also gives you a detective side to it, which is, honestly, I'm a fan of both. So this series kind of tickled my a bone where I scratched the bone for me reading a Doctor Strange or a fresh one, and I just wanted to see how they were using Doctor Strange and stuff. As I say, not bad at all. If you can, as I say, can hold off this Marvel Unlimited for a week, it's highly worth just to read that and other Doctor Strange new stuff. So because then you can be more up to date to understand what you're using Doctor Strange for, which is already I think he's back now, isn't he?
He is, he's back. It's
because
I mean, no surprise or anything, right? Yeah.
But
he seems to be a pretty important character in their universe these days, even in the movies and stuff. So
but the whole point, I was reading also Clea, the first issue after she's becoming Sorcerer Supreme, and the whole point of that series is for her to find how to make him live again.
Right.
And they thought they have, because like all magic, you have a consequence, you have to pay for it. So if you want to revive somebody else has to die in order to you to be part of existence. So when they revived him, even though the person who died when he was resurrected, but they didn't do it on time because death, death character, you have to pay extra. He's going to tell you the terms of your your survival, or if you want to be back and stuff like that. So
very,
very entertaining. Honestly, I really enjoyed it.
That's good. I mean, that's what you want, right? So, this is the book we were talking about.
There you go.
Let me click the button here. Hello, Miss So. How are you? So this is the Fireside. But I mean, first of all, like that cover it's unbelievable. It's really, really amazing. Beautiful stuff. So, like I said, there you go, Fireside.
I think it's only been produced in America.
That could be. And there's the list of the other books that Fireside did. So Origins of Marvel Comics, Son of Origins, Bring on the Bad Guys, Superhero Woman, etc., etc. How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, the infamous one. So, and let's see, does it? Yeah, it doesn't give a list, but I think this is from 1979 is when this is from. There's a dedication to Ditko, and then there's like a 3-pager, and then they do some reprints. So Baron Mordo, so early Strange Tales stuff. But like I said, 95% of it is the Ditko era, which is great. It's great to see it. It's nice to have it in this collection. And then the last one I'll just show you. This is the final issue in the book, the only thing. And this is the Barry Windsor Smith stuff, or Barry Smith as he's called here anyway.
Oh, nice.
So while the world spins mad, I'll see if there's a close-up of him here.
Oh yeah,
that
look at
stuff
that.
there. So yeah,
Look at that Rain Man. When Barry Wilson Smith does Rain Man, you're just like, ah,
it's pretty great, hey?
yeah.
Oh,
You don't mind that it rains on you. It's
yeah,
funny. So I looked it
yeah,
up
no,
just
it's great.
now because you
Yep.
told me the name of the publisher. Now it came out. So it's £40 on eBay if you
Oh
if
wow, yeah,
yeah, if you wanted to get it from eBay, which is
yeah.
always like
Nobody
that, you know,
else.
it's more
There was
expensive.
one or two other guys that were bidding on it on because he had it for a buy it now price of like $60.
Mm.
But there was a couple of other guys that were bidding on it, but I guess I got mine in, and I don't know if they didn't check or if they just gave up. So, like I said, I think it was $25 is what I paid, which is, obviously I love to get things cheaper, but there's nothing wrong with that. And
Mm.
it's just great to have it, like it's just a really nice book to have for the
Mm.
Doctor Strange stuff. So,
Yeah.
um, and then for what I read, so 204 comics down
Hmm.
south end of the city or south of the city. They had so Chip Zdarsky came in last weekend on
Oh yeah.
Mother's Day. I didn't make it because Mother's Day was really busy, obviously
Oh,
cooking
yes,
here, and
yes.
my parents
Hmm.
came over and stuff, so I didn't make it
Uh-huh.
to the event. Apparently, it was an incredible event. Apparently, he's a hell of a guy,
Oh.
super easy to deal with, super friendly. There was a
Oh.
lineup like down the building and around the corner.
There you
People
go.
came from outside. I think there was a guy that came from Fargo, North Dakota. So that's a bit of a
Oof.
drive to get here to come and see him because that's the closest appearance, I guess, for him. And the guys at the shop, I was talking to them about it, and they just said it was just an absolute blast. They're kind of glad that it's done. They're glad that it's done, but it was nice to kind of get that first one in because this is the first time they've done anything like this, any sort of event. And they said it couldn't have been better. Like he seems like if we would have had like a guy like Todd McFarlane, they said it would have been, I can imagine it would be way more stressful and there would be a whole bunch of other hoops for us to jump through. But Chip, they said, was so easy to talk to, even leading up to it. Plus, they knew about it like a couple of months in advance. So it gave them a
Yeah.
lot of time to make sure that they promoted it and stuff like this. So they were super happy with the turnout. And it sounds like they want to do it again. I would have, as much as I'm not like an Uber Zdarsky fan or anything, I still would have loved to see, get something signed, but it just didn't pan out. So all these collections that they've bought recently, they're left with all these soft cover and hardcover books that they don't really know what to do with. So they had sort of like a yard sale thing happening yesterday.
Oh,
He
wow.
filled up a table in the shop with like it was $3 soft covers, $5 hard covers. I'm telling you, man, the selection they had there was unbelievable. I only picked up a couple of things. There was a lot of really interesting things, a lot of like comic strip reprints, which I like looking at. I don't need them, you know what I mean? Like it was Little Abner. He had a bunch of Little Abner hardcover
Hmm.
reprints, a few Terry and the Pirates, like really nice looking stuff, no doubt about it. But like I said, for like $5 a piece for the hardcover ones. So next
Wow.
weekend he's going to be putting out some more plus some magazines. So I've got a bunch of stuff to sell already. So I'm going to try to add to that pile to sell stuff so I can make a bit extra cash and go down because the stuff that I did pick, unbelievable. And the first one that I read,
Hmm.
loose quotes on read,
Uh-huh. Look
was
at
this one, The Worm. It's the
wow.
longest comic strip in the world, and it's Alan Moore and a galaxy of guests. And when I say a galaxy, it's 125 different British cartoonists. So there was this
Shit.
event. Yeah, so there was this event. I guess there was this in the late, maybe it was the early 90s. Let's see when this one came out. I think this one was 99 is when this came out. Yes, so this one was published in 1999 by Slab of Concrete Productions. So there was a course sort of where they were teaching cartooning to people, and they were getting government funding, I think, and that funding had kind of fallen through, but they
Hmm.
still wanted to have some they still wanted to teach these classes. They still wanted to have this
Hmm.
outlet for these artists.
Yeah.
So they held this kind of event. Everything that you used, the money that they made off of this book, it went to the school so they could kind of keep the doors
Oh.
open themselves. And it turned into this exhibit where there was 125 artists doing a few panels. Alan Moore had the script. they talk, they basically lays out the script in the back here, which is pretty amazing. I haven't read this section yet, but he goes kind of, it's broken up into 5 different parts. It's sort of the basic premise is about an artist, a comic artist throughout history. So storytelling throughout history in the ways of like comic artists. And it goes sort of, it ends up sort of in the future where they're really revered and there's these big events for them and stuff like this. So, and they're kind of looked upon, you know, like there's museums and lineups around the block to go to the museums and stuff. So a pretty incredible book. And one of the things that's a lot of fun, I mean, there's a lot of names, you know, like, you know, just a couple of them, John Bolton, Mark Buckingham, Al Davidson, Hunt Emerson, Glenn Fabry, Dave Gibbons, Ian Gibson, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, like 125 guys. And at the bottom of each page, they list who's doing what panel. Every single page is broken up into 6 panels. And it's a really nice little story. And it's so fantastic to see kind of how the story kind of moves throughout the book. And apparently it was an exhibit as well too. So then once they were done, because this happened all in like one, I think 9 or 10 hour event, and then they ended up doing an art kind of show of it. So they had the panels up around the room of this gallery, so you could come in and then see them kind of move through the space and sort of read the comic strip there. Really, really cool. And it works so well having all of these different artists kind of dealing with this story, that it still is seamless. One of the notes that he had was for the main character. He wanted the main character to sort of be Tintin-ish, like in its simplicity. This is the character here. So it wouldn't be something that each artist would get hung up on, where it was something that each artist would be able to draw very easily. He didn't want that to be the thing to make it confusing, which is super smart because it does that clarity. But it's mostly silent. There's some dialogue later on because he really goes to town for, once he gets past kind of the historical element, we get our main character working for these different companies. So he ends up working in animation and getting put through the ringer there. He ends up working for what they call as New York Comics, which is clearly like DC Comics. So, you know, Alan Moore kind of exercising some of his demons there. And again, the usual thing of like, you know, you create these characters and you create these storylines and you don't own anything and your pay gets cut. And, you know, even shows there, like the way they think of your art, you know, your art is up in flames. So, you know, he's really,
it's quite bitter. He has been bitter for a while, but it's being known.
Totally understandable.
Yeah, exactly. Known fact how his feelings about it anyway. So.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's completely understandable. So our main character kind of decides enough is enough, and he starts to revolt, and he ends up writing in his comics basically subtext about the industry. And then he's heralded as this incredible cartoonist, and that sort of turns the tide for everybody, cartoonists all around the world, to kind of get more revered and held on a pedestal, and people start thinking about the history of comics. And we even get his last days where he's drawing out his last will and testament in a comic strip as well too. So very, very cool, like a really, really cool story. Very cool book. I've never heard of this. I've never seen it. I messaged Colin. Colin is the other kind of Alan Moore fan that I know. He knew about it. But it was a new one to me. I had no idea that it existed. So yeah, 1999, the company was Slab of Concrete, and it was the Cartoon Art Trust is what it was. And it looks like it was like £10 when it came out in 1999. So $20 American. For a solid $3 now at this stage, which was, like I said, unbelievable deal. The books they had there were freaking amazing. And I'm hoping I can sell some stuff to go back next week to see what else he has. Because he said once the table was getting empty, then he would fill it up with more stuff. But he was waiting till things sold. He didn't want to just pile everything up. But I guess you buy all these collections and you just got stuff that he's like, there's no way really to display it. A lot of this stuff, I don't know if there's really a market for it. I don't know if people are interested in it. So, you know, he was kind of trying this way. But
the good thing is he has a good platform, like his own shop, and he can actually basically make his own mind how he wants to sell stuff. And especially
Yep.
like those trade paperbacks, they aren't easy to sell if you're not seeing
They
the
sure as hell aren't.
full picture on the table. When you
That's
can
right.
scroll through, and then that's the beauty of those kind of sales, because you find some churches like these kind of things, which I've never seen it before. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's nice to see that you found something, and hopefully you're probably gonna find something else there. It seems to be
Yeah,
has
I've got a
like.
few other things that I'm starting to work through. I'll just
Mhm.
show you quickly because there's only a couple. I'll just show you very
Oh, okay.
quickly. There was a Skip Williamson, underground cartoonist. This
Uh-huh.
and The Scum Also Rises from Fantagraphics, an early Fantagraphics book.
Oh.
90s as well too, I think. Even like a really old Fantagraphics logo
Uh-huh.
there.
Oh,
And the
wow,
spine
yes.
reminds me of when they were doing the Hernandez brothers stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What year was this put out? This was 1988 is when this one came out. So, not
Wow.
something you're finding. One that I started reading yesterday, Fernando Fernandez, Zora,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the Hibernauts, and it's gorgeous. I have another book by him as well, too, that's Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
I think this might have appeared in Heavy Metal, but this is beautiful, beautiful stuff. Every
Oof.
single page is just gorgeous. A mix of like drawing and painting and black and
Yes.
white and
Mm-hmm.
this kind of
Fences.
sci-fi story, but beautiful stuff. So very excited about that.
Oh.
Another underground comics anthology from Ripoff Press. Fulbert Sturgeon, his Jesus character, his Adventures of Jesus, in kind of a little trade paperback. And then a Ditko collection
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Fantagraphics as well too. So another early Fantagraphics one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last thing was a hardcover. I've got 3 of these Daniel Torres, these Rocco Vargas books.
Oh,
There's a
wow.
4th story in here that I don't have, which is great. So Dark Horse had put this beefy volume. I love his art; is gorgeous.
I mean, have I
Shown him off
seen
before.
have I seen you showing this before? Because that doesn't look like I've
Yep.
seen it before.
It's been a long time though, because I've
Uh,
had those other books for quite a while. I think Catalan Communications put them out,
uh-huh.
but this one is great. I didn't realize there was a 4th volume, like a 4th story.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited. I haven't sat and read it yet. So yeah, it's a beautiful hardcover. So
So
that
does it
was
collect all issues?
collects everything, yeah, from
I
Dark Horse.
see.
Yeah, I don't know
And
what
is it?
year it came out, but
Yeah. Have a look.
let's have a look inside.
It looks like always a beautiful hardcover by Dark Horse.
1997 is when this came
Wow.
out. Yeah, so
It looks brand new, man. Somebody
it does, yeah,
just.
and that's the thing. Like the stuff there was
Uh,
gorgeous, like, and I was just, I mean, I guess I'm surprised, but not surprised that
Mhm.
I'm always a bit surprised when I see this stuff. It's like, how is this stuff still here? How is nobody else picking this stuff up? But I mean, it's just not everybody's cup of tea, right? It's just not their thing.
Yeah,
So
it's I think you need to when you read comic books, you start discovering lots of stuff, and brand new stuff appears, and your knowledge just increases. And then, if you're not afraid to dabble into something, you get addicted to that kind of particular genre. Like myself, I
totally.
mean, like I always just was doing, like the beginning of my reading comic book experience, I was doing only those typical DC, Marvel, Dark Horse, and Image. That was my 4 people Horseman Apocalypse.
Yeah, right.
Those are the ones I was going for.
Yeah,
But then
absolutely.
my world opened up because of library, which thankfully, and also don't forget, you guys, especially yourself, have showed me some stuff. I was like, what the hell is going on with this?
Yeah.
Underground part of the comic book things is another thing, another realm
Well,
you
and I
have to
guess
go into.
for everybody, it's always a space issue too, right? Like you only have so
Oh,
much space, so there's only so much stuff you can
exactly.
actually grab.
Yes.
But some of this stuff to me is I see this stuff and I just see gold. I just go, oh my God, like you're never seeing this stuff ever again. If you don't get it
Mm,
now, this is
yeah.
not stuff you're gonna just stumble on somewhere else, like whereas
Mm.
90% of the other stuff that are in the bins is like you'll find it at a million conventions. But this stuff, yeah, unbelievable, Donald. I was very impressed. And he said he had more in the back. Plus he had about, I don't remember. He had a number of magazine boxes. I think he said 10 magazine boxes that are going to come out next weekend as well. I imagine that most of those are going to be Conan, but I'm hoping that there's a couple of some, again, if there's some fanographic stuff here, I'm hoping that there's going to be some fanographic stuff in those magazine boxes, because there's a whole bunch of that stuff that I don't have, that I would, fingers crossed. So yeah.
Well, you could just ask him, plain and simple.
Yeah, he didn't really. I didn't really ask him. I did ask
I
him.
know.
He didn't really know. And then
No,
he
it
had
would
other
be
customers. I
awkward.
didn't want to take all his time
Yeah.
and like, hey man, show me what
Yeah.
else you got. Because I was really tempted to go, hey, why don't you just let me come in the back there and I'll just kind of dig through stuff. I didn't want to push my luck like that.
It
so,
is
yeah.
kind of awkward, isn't it? It's still
Yeah.
like I know, like it's always, I don't know why it's awkward, but yeah, it's kind of difficult to
Well, you
make
don't
that
want to be
point.
too pushy, right? Like, it is his business and he wants to do it a certain way. Who am I to like try to like get in there before everybody else? So
Well, if you don't ask, you never would know. But still, it's
That's
kind of
true.
that taking that leap is a bit, relationship as if it's kind of slim though if you don't
Yeah,
see
no,
the
totally.
people often and it's not your friend and stuff like that or something like that. So it's
Well,
quite
and his
difficult.
other thing he was saying, he's like a yard sale. At the
Mhm,
end of the day, if whatever's left over, you want to make a
mhm.
low ball offer on, please do so. So if you want to come in and buy the stuff, but at the end of the day, because he's like, I want to get rid of all of it. So if there's stuff and it's like 6 p.m. and you want to make me an offer, please do so, because I will gladly get rid of it. So it's wild, man. So I mean, that's where my mind was like, well, maybe there's some resale stuff there, but it's like, I'm not going down that road of like trying to resell some of these
Yeah,
hardcovers. That's so expensive to ship shit, and then it's that's just such a pain in the ass, right? So yeah,
yeah, it's very tempting because you think, oh my god,
super
this is
tempting.
treasure. Yeah, and you have to, and then suddenly you start having those scenarios in your head where you, oh yeah, but if I sell these and I'm gonna make this, and then but that the work beforehand, that's
That's
so
right.
much work you need to do, and then anticipations, and you never know if you're gonna sell it. It's just kind of annoying. And
Yeah,
that's why they don't get the people who's been doing business like that. They're doing
that's right.
that kind of sales in order to actually sell them, because at the end of the day you lose the patience and space,
And the
which is a
space, because their shop is pretty small too. Like, it's not like
yeah.
they have a huge warehouse that they can put a bunch of books in. They've got a little back room and you can see it when you're in the shop, and it's packed. The shelves are packed, and it's like, we need space. This stuff has got to go. We got to
Yeah,
get this out of here.
yeah. I think there's one comic book shop I heard they had this system where if it's in a year or two doesn't go away, the stock they
Yep.
had, they do sale. And they get
Mm.
that stock specifically have to go on sale, and then they get rid of the stuff because But then yeah, it depends on your work, I guess.
This is
Business
also
window,
the
I think.
shop that does, like, so when the new issue comes out in the next month, the previous
Mhm,
issue they put in a bin and they start knocking
mhm.
money off of the previous issue. So you get them for
Mm,
$1 less. So if you
oh
want to
wow.
be a month behind, you
Uh-huh.
can get the books at $1 less. And then
Yeah.
those ones, when they do have sales, they usually do the recent back issues, they'll sell for like $1 or $2 a piece, right? Because
Oh,
again, they want the space in the bins, and it's the books are doing us no good sitting here. They've got to get out of the store,
that's
for us
good.
to make some money.
That's a
So
good
it's like
business.
they try their best to sell stuff. So I think they do
Mm,
pretty well. From an outsider, it feels like they're doing really well, but I don't know the
yeah. 'Cause-
intricacies of their business. But they're always busy. They've always got people in the shop, right? So
Well, that's good. Oh yeah,
it's
that's the
great.
way. That's the thing. That's what you need. You need those people to coming into the shop.
Yeah,
That's what sells. Anyway,
yeah, totally.
so I'm talking about the turtles next.
Yeah.
Another issue I received, and one more issue. Well, not I'm not next issue of the turtles, so will be 140. Won't be any more this happening. Armageddon game. Because the event finally is going to finish. It's been a long. So for me, it started from 131 event book, but then there's a lot of other issues to come happen, and in this one, kind of more and more getting lost to actually what I know. The bad guy, I know who they're going for. So the Rat King is the bad guy, who they're going for. But this new powers they having, they more like even difficult for me to explain the power in order to, because they they, I don't know how you would call them, like they're not magicians, but they are like extra powerful beings with a lot of ways to deal with fight scenes. Like they have so much, they are siblings, and the Rat King is one of the siblings who's basically a bad guy of this event. And the turtles, all five of them, having to deal to harness this new way of learning how to defeat him, and they go into all this astral projections and all that stuff, which is kind of involved. And honestly, when I reading this, would be because it's an event and it's kind of dense information sometimes in issues. It's much more difficult for me to get the whole grasps of it, or only the like a small information. Because, for example, like we have a female turtle. She always thought that because she just been turned into the turtle, and then she's not really a sibling of those four boys. But then they found out in this Armageddon, kind of like trying to explain that she does have blood of Hamato, and she's basically becomes relieved because she always kind of felt like a fifth gear in a four-wheel. I don't know how you explain. Not like you have
I know
three,
what you
and
mean. Yeah.
so she's always have felt like she's not really a part of the whole gang. She's just an
Mhm.
extra. Like you all need somebody, and she's there for them to help. But no, then they say no. You're all more when you're part of the gear. We all need you, as you can see in here. Like a flower petal kind of thing, but they all need it in order to defeat the king. So the bad guy's sister Kitsune, she's coming here to teach them the last and the most of the important part of the teachings. And funny enough, the person who's basically started the teachings is a bad guy. He the villain of I kind of forgetting the name, for God's sake. What is his name?
Shredder.
Shredder, yeah, exactly. Oh my God,
Yeah.
what's wrong with me? Anyway, it's like
It's
always.
the cameras that zaps
Yeah,
your
it's
brain
like
power.
yeah, exactly. So he's the one who's basically telling them how to deal with the situation. And at the beginning they didn't believe. Also, interesting part of this issue, which kind of they show you the might be future of the turtles. So like we saw the last Ronin, where the only one turtle left.
Yeah.
And it kind of hinted of all like they how they're gonna probably split. This is like you own making of your own future, but you can still change the path. But it kind of showed
Yep.
to in these pages like this, they showed them kind of like the future, what would happen to them. A
It's pretty great
superstar
pages
who
too,
is
man. Wow.
superstar, probably she's kind of has always been like still thinking that she's supposed to be a human, and she was turned into a turtle. And then there's bad guys around her survival, and she's going to be maybe a lone soldier. All the boys always fighting, and they always keep on thinking that maybe it's the best thing, and they've always been that part of the turtles world. If you read more and more of the stories, that they're saying maybe we shouldn't be part of a gang, like together. Maybe we have to split apart. Maybe because of us, all these things happening, bad things happening around us. And of course, Raphael is always the one saying no. And maybe we should do this, like, oh my God, he's always the angry one. He's
Yeah,
always storms
absolutely.
off like a,
Yeah.
like a
What a
child saying,
sulk.
maybe, because they mentioned the idea. He's like, yeah, maybe we should do this. And everybody's like, wait, we're just having a conversation, for God's sake. Wait a second. But he's always kind of the one who's basically have this like informations. And this is a really nice
Oh,
panel. It's
that's
just last
great.
panel.
Wow.
So this is a Rat King coming in to tell them, like, hey, I'm gonna still win, and no matter how many powers you think you're gaining, and the extra special teachings you have won't help you against me.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's, as I say, for me, honestly, I'm a bit lost to in
Right.
some ways to understand exactly the opinions about this storyline. But already I've seen in the release dates that this is going to come out as a hardcover. If ever want to
Oh,
read it,
that's
but
the checklist. Holy shit, man.
yeah, and look at how many issues
So
there
I'm a bit
was.
confused. So how
Yeah.
many? I thought that was the only title. Like, so is it like crossing over with other titles? What kind of stuff is on that list?
So they have Armageddon game, which the turtle book just for Armageddon is coming
Okay.
out. You have the main ongoing title, which is this one, and then
Mhm.
you have another one called the Turtles Armageddon Game Opening Moves,
Oh my gosh.
and all those three books, which will make you this playlist
Right.
or a checklist for you to read the whole
Holy
story.
crap, man. That's a lot.
Yeah, and then in the turtle world, this always has been. Like people were
Yeah.
complaining. I just recently heard that they haven't released those hardcovers they've been coming out with the whole book
Yep.
thing. So of this coming in the main story and the offshoots, like about the main characters, a bit more explanations. Like annuals embedded. Like this is new annual coming out, which I don't intend to
Mhm.
take out, but this one looks extremely interesting. I don't know why, but maybe it's just the art it's inside. But apparently, then they came out with hardcovers. They didn't include this main story, and that's why people collecting those
Oh
hardcovers to
geez.
have main story
Yeah, to get
and
everything.
off, and then they start releasing just extras hardcovers
Oh
in the
man.
same, because there's a lot. That's what I'm trying to tell you, and I'm only doing the main title. So imagine. So for me, with event book, even though I'm collecting these, is always an event, which just makes me a little bit, uh, annoyed. But because I can't get
Yeah.
away from it, this is going to be part of it. And then for me, who is not reading extra material, I get a bit more confused because because I think I haven't read it. I get like, oh my god, did I miss an issue? And I go
Uh,
look at my list, and the one book I always make sure CLZ is up to date is this book.
uh-huh. Yeah,
Because it
yeah.
seems to be in the whole single issue thing, because I have such a small list. This is the book number. I can't drop it. I have to have it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just
Yeah.
it's just it's just I love that much of the turtles, and see where we're gonna get into it, this stuff.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's actually more intriguing this for me now, since the other ones were beforehand with the Armageddon game, but this one was
Mhm.
more intriguing because it shows you those panels, like when they show you the kind of the future, or what kind of
Yeah,
expectations
those are
they
great
would.
pages, man.
Those pages are absolutely fantastic,
Amazing.
and they just
Yeah.
splendidly done to explain. You gave you a page for each turtle and what the future might look like. And Leonardo's always thinking that he's going to be a superstar, or I think an actor or something like that. His dream is, and like all that stuff. So Raphael is always dark and
Yeah,
broody,
yeah.
and he has Alopec's
Baby teenager.
relationship with him has been strained, because she thinks like because of this other couple of events, that she's not really part of the gang anymore, and
Mhm.
also the Splinter's death, which is have really shattered them to the core. And he's been dead, so like superheroes coming back, but he's been dead, and it's not being apart for what, 30 issues now. So that's a
Uh-huh.
long time. That's several years of comic book release, if I'm correct. I think it is. Wasn't those 100 is his death, 100 something issue that he
Right.
died. And that event was superb, by the way. And it wasn't as
Mhm, mhm.
confusing, because it wasn't, somehow they were managing to write in the main title really well and in the offshoots. And I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And no, you can. And then I heard that people who have read it in the hardcover or collected edition, that event was even more greater than they were expecting to be,
Right.
because it's you read it in the
Because you
whole
read it as
chunk.
one chunk and yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it gives you a very different perspective of the series.
Yeah.
But I'm a fan of turtles, and as I say, I'm
Yeah.
always gonna continue with them as long as I know, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to continuing, right? Like I'm still going through the early stuff, but I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to continuing and kind of keeping up with it, honestly. Like
Mhm.
it's great. It's so much fun. Like I really, even the issues that aren't as strong for me, they're still really enjoyable. So
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing where it goes and,
So
following it.
they come out with this compendium, like
Mhm.
I think you've seen it actually in flesh.
I have
The big
seen. Yeah, yeah.
So apparently the volume 2 is coming out really soon.
Oh, okay.
And what people realize, they skipping a couple of issues,
Oh,
and they're
really?
supposed to collect it all.
Doesn't a
And I was,
compendium mean you collect everything? Isn't that like
yeah,
literally the definition of the fucking word? Yeah.
yeah. So I'm wondering, do they have licensing issues to some, because there were so many
Can't
artists
imagine.
who has been coming part of the You have showed so many variations of the artists who've been part of the turtle world. So do you think there's
Right.
somebody who
I
they have
wonder.
no rights for? Because it's
Yeah, I
the
mean,
issue
I wonder.
20.
I'd be surprised though,
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean,
exactly.
it could very well be.
Because it's about, I think it's issue 20 something, that they miss because there's a guy, I mean, I was watching some guy who was saying what's coming out, and he was
Yep.
like specifically mentioning, saying why they're skipping in the issues if it's compendium.
Uh-huh.
I was like wondering, like, do they have license? How? What? To what
Yeah.
extent? That would be, or
I mean,
do
as far
they?
as I understood, they've sold everything. Like they've sold it all. But I mean, maybe in those individual issues when they had artists come in, maybe
Yeah,
there was issues. I mean, I think I don't think there was anything because I know Dave Sim
yeah,
might have been a thing at one point where there was a
yeah.
little bit of rights issues there with Cerebus and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure that got sorted out. But I think that was
Mm,
like issue 9 or something like that, wasn't it? Or something 8 or
yeah,
9 or somewhere
yeah.
along there. But maybe there's something like that. Maybe someone had something in there that they didn't have
Have
the rights
rights
to.
to.
Again, I'd be surprised though. But
Yeah.
who knows? I don't know well enough.
Anyway, so yeah, so that's the another companion. That's the thing. I was like, wow, who they would have that they able to reprint it, because there's so
Yeah,
many
exactly.
reprints of turtles already, and nobody, I seem I've heard, that have issues of not having the whole issues being collected in all
Yep.
its glory, like you would
Yeah.
say. But yeah, that's
Yeah, no, I
kind of
mean,
like,
and if you're going to do a compendium, you want to do everything, right? Like you want people to
yeah,
buy one thing. Well, I mean, you'd you'd like to think that they want people to buy one thing, but as is often the case, they do want you to, oh, you got to get this and you got to get that other one. Like you're talking this Armageddon game list. It's like
yeah.
you got to get all these if you want the whole story.
I hope just it's a printing issue, like somebody made
Uh-huh.
mess up with knowing which issues comes in that compendium, which is kind of
Yeah.
stupid because you're supposed to double check and triple check that. But
Yeah.
it happens, not the first time. It would just become more sellable point if they would just made a mistake on like a back cover, listed what's collects, and then actually you have the whole package inside, but it doesn't really say it. Like the information in the back usually doesn't say, like
Hmm.
says all the information what you have, those printing
Hmm.
errors as they call them. But I hope that's what it is, because
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
would be quite interesting. So if it would be that as a story, that would be interesting to know who. First of all, maybe I should just do my research, but that would be very interesting. Why wouldn't they
Yeah, for
have
sure.
the whole shebang to be reprinted,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
if they want to do that, and they have been
Yeah.
doing it for a while now, so what would have changed? So anyway.
Hmm. So I'll stay on the same train then.
Uh-huh.
I
Oh,
only
you have
read
turtles.
one. Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
only read one this past week.
Uh-huh.
Number
Ooh,
14.
wow,
So
you're
I'm up to
14
number
issue now.
14.
Nice.
So this
Look
is
at
this is now in the
it.
era where it's Eastman and Laird. They're kind of
Uh-huh.
trading off issues. So this is the Eastman. So the first thing that I'm realizing right off the bat is, as much as I love Eastman, he's great. I prefer Peter Laird's stuff. Because I
Uh-huh.
prefer his style. I prefer his kind of take on the characters. And honestly, I'm going to have to flip through this one to remember exactly what the hell this story was about. I
Mhm.
think Casey Jones is sort of kind of reliving he's in his neighborhood where he grew up, and there's
Oh,
a
it's
there's a
fast.
convenience store that had a cow on the roof that's now
Mhm.
gone. So it becomes this mystery of a cow. And it turns out that the cow, I believe the cow was actually gold. And it's this group of people from another country that it's sort of like, I think it's sort of representing their war chest to some degree, right? So
Uh-huh.
they want it to kind of get the money so they can kind of buy weapons, I think is what the story was. Um, it was it was one of the weaker issues where I wasn't as interested in it. It was a well told story. There was nothing wrong with the way that it was going along or everything. But
Mhm.
honestly, I do really like the grittiness of Peter Laird a little bit more than Eastman's stuff.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so not too much to say about it, but it's again like now I'm missing. Now I'm in a section where I have quite a lot of gaps.
Oh,
So
I
I need
see.
to I'll need to read some things digitally, or I'll maybe kind of wait to see if I can find some of the issues.
Mhm.
Um, because I do want to just keep going like in chronological order. I don't want to jump around. I really want the experience of kind of reading it as it was coming out, so to speak, right? So,
Yeah.
but still, this is it's continually the thing that amazes me the most about these is the
Mm,
thickness of the issues, the amount of pages that they're doing. They're
mm,
doing like 40-page books. They're
yes.
always late, but they're continually doing these really
Mm,
big stories, which is so great. So you get your $1.50s worth at the time is what it was, the cover price.
yeah.
Let's see how many pages this one was. Yeah, 37 pages on this one here. So
Mm.
and then of course the ads. So here's a
Oh, look at that.
limited edition hardcover,
Mm.
1,000 copies only from Mirage, 512, huge 512 pages. So it's great seeing those ads. I don't know what those ones looked like
Mhm.
from when they came out. And then there's a Eric Talbot back up here, which looks like kind of
Oof.
melting pot that they did, that Kevin and him did. I think that got released through, I don't remember, did it kind of see the light of day through Image? I don't remember.
Mhm.
It was gonna be, there's an ad for it as well too. So it was going to be something that Mirage did. I don't know if Mirage ended up doing it or
Mhm.
not. And then what do we have here? Coming this summer from Mirage, another ad.
Mm.
Great
Back
looking
in
images there
Bernice.
too.
Lovely.
All new, all complete summer issue. Okay, so like a summer
So
special, I guess.
special, yeah, probably. Yeah.
And then a killer ad for Puma Blues, which is the Michael Zulli book.
Oh yes,
We
yes,
looked at
yes.
Michael Zulli before, so there's a amazing ad for that book. So from Aardvark, Vanaheim. Yeah, all this back matter is always fun. So this was interesting. Apparently this never came out, but Bissett and Laird were going to
Oh,
do this Commandosaurs comic. It never happened. Apparently it came out in like mini comic form that they would sell at conventions, so they did limited
oh.
number of them, but it never actually made it to Mirage itself. Yeah, so Peter Laird and Stephen Bissett.
So do you think
Watch
like
for the
those,
upcoming announcement of Commandosaurs. Looks amazing though.
those ash cans?
Uh-huh.
They only get given to the people who comes in the conventions, and they're
Yep.
quite pricey stuff. So maybe that's
Yep.
what. Oh my god, lucky
That's
bastard! Somebody
it's
has.
gotta be. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
And then the usual metal miniatures. They're always selling those, every single one. The prices there, I
Oh,
can't remember how much they are.
yeah.
Each set of figures sells for $375 plus
Mm.
75 cents postage and handling. So and there's kind of the miniatures that you can get. There were like these lead
Hmm.
miniatures or
Yeah,
whatever.
which were very popular in that time.
And that's it. Yeah. So number 14. So we're deep into
Nice.
1988 at this point. So
Nice.
what is it? Was it 84 or 86? I believe it's 84,
Before.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it has to be, yes.
So yeah, really amazing. It's so much fun to kind of go through single issues at a time, right? So
Well,
but
lucky you.
I think I
You
might
can.
wait now until I can find some of the actual physical copies and kind of continue, so I
Let's
can
hope you
keep
don't
reading.
have to wait too long because I'm enjoying this part of the cracks being
Right.
turtle fan.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I hope I don't have to wait too long either. I don't know if
Yeah,
there's any mini conventions coming anytime soon, but
yeah.
I'm
Well,
hoping I can find some.
it's a time for conventions anyway. Summertimes is usually
It's about
what's
that time.
yeah.
It's also
So
garage sale season too. I don't
uh,
know, what are garage sales or yard sales a big thing
uh,
for you guys out there? I guess you have like car boot sales, don't you?
yes, that's the ones we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, I've never lucked out to be where they had comics. There was one time I think there was a hint of it, but there was like really small amount, and I wasn't, like not impressed. And then they were in really tattered condition to the point where you can't even know which is the right page of the comic you're actually picking it up because
Mhm.
you know what I mean. But then really, it's a rare sight. As well, whatever I've been. I haven't been to one in any action in a while, so I can't tell you. But I think if you
Yeah.
would be like somewhere where it's more like you have comic book shop, it's more populated, maybe you would have somebody who's brave enough to do that in car boot sales. but the comic book mart is still in London. It's happening, and
Right.
we will be having shows. But I don't know if it's the London is becoming kind of a thing where they don't really want people to come into London anymore because they're making it
Right.
so
Right.
much more difficult and so expensive to enter. Like you have to have like special occasion. Comic book, yeah, would be for me only, but I have to
Yeah.
think of
Yeah.
my husband and my son to like
Yeah.
make it like what do we say? I mean, my husband knows that already. Like I am
Yeah.
kind of yearning for going to one place because he knows how excited I get to like a child in the playground.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's very difficult to make first cash wise. Do you have enough cash? Because you do have to, because it just becomes and like I was starting to like put some cash away to think about it,
Yep.
but then I was thinking just to I have to put cash just to enter London, which
Yeah.
is
That's right.
absolutely mind-boggling, and that
Yeah.
becomes like almost to 50 quid
Oh wow.
for a day.
Uh-huh.
Because all the fees you have to pay for the car, because
Hmm.
we have we unfortunately we don't have the hybrid car where it's
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
cheaper
Yeah.
for us to get into, or even electric, like that's what,
Is
because
there a train that goes from you guys into there?
one ticket is about 40 quid per person.
Oh boy. Oh wow. Yeah.
If you
Makes
like,
sense. Yeah.
if it's on sale, if it's on, well, it's some
Yeah. Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's returned. Don't forget, I'm talking about
Yeah.
return ticket price. So only that part you have to put that chunk plus. If you go earlier, you pay 5 quid nothing. You're still doing that 5 quid early entry,
Hmm.
which we were doing that beforehand. But what I'm sorry, this becoming like train tickets are pricing really a lot. No tolls. We are paying, well, kind of, we have those zones, emission zones, because they're
Uh-huh.
expanding the zones to the point where we used to have this hack where you enter the motorway, which is called M25. It goes around whole London and you wouldn't have to pay at all to that point. So you could park up somewhere around the M25 and then you take the tubes, because tubes are ever reaching,
Everywhere. Yeah.
and then that wouldn't cost you a penny. Like it's cost you, but not as much as what it is. So now,
Yeah.
just to enter with the one vehicle, especially if it's not hybrid or electric, the fee is to enter 25 quid. You leave this 25 quid, and you're like,
Jesus Christ.
excuse me. And not people who lives in London, you imagine that kind of part, because then you have to apply all the regulations. And I do understand all about fresh
For sure.
air,
Yeah.
all that, be better, and because the smoke parts and blah blah blah, it says it's a capital, it's really kind of stuff is in some days,
Sure.
especially when it's really warm. But it's impossible to even like be a tourist. I mean, you can fly into it and then you don't have to pay any fees,
Yeah.
or take a train, which is also as much as it is. And you don't forget, if you pay £40 per person by train, which I don't have to pay for my child because he's still quite young, so it's still
Mhm.
100 almost pound just to get to a destination where I want to go. I
Mhm.
want to spend £100 in the comic book, not spending to get to there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know
Well,
what I
and
mean?
because then that adds up the price of the books that you're getting, so the books
Yeah,
become not a deal anymore
yeah.
because you've spent this extra money just to
Yeah.
get there, right? So yeah,
Exactly. That's why I'm weighing it up. It's like, so
yeah,
what the bloody point? And then the
yeah,
point is,
totally.
of course, to enjoy. Yes, it's kind of like we haven't been there. We do enjoy London to a certain point. We were living there
Sure.
before, so we kind of reminisce to where you were, and the exploration of having everything around you to no limit end, because there's everything available. I'm talking about shopping wise.
Hmm.
And views as well, like those reminiscing points where like Big Ben was kind of almost everyday view for me when I was traveling into destinations, when I was working and stuff like that kind of sentimental part it is, but you have to think of clearly where you're going, for what reason.
Hmm.
We even say to my husband's brother, it's like, you come to us rather than we have to
Yeah,
schlep
yeah,
all the way to your place, for God's
yeah,
sake. It's one way for you, for one person. For us, it's 3 of us, for God's sake.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, we're making it kind of impossible. And I know maybe I'm making some sort of excuses, but it becomes
Nah.
a novelty part where you buy a comic. Don't forget, I'm going to buy
Yep.
a hobby part. It's not something like life or needing to buy, like something.
That's right.
It's
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
an entertainment. So it becomes a double thought before I do so. So
Well, it's
kind of,
also the thing of like, offsetting, because again, I'm with you. Like I
yeah.
understand they don't want vehicles, pollution, yada 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 yada.
Mhm.
But it's like at the end of the day, the motherfuckers that are going to make a difference to the climate are not the kind of average everyday citizen. It's going to be the huge corporations and the huge companies that are
Yeah,
doing stuff
yeah.
on such a scale that dwarfs anything that any individual is doing. So it is kind of a pisser that that cost comes down to the everyday kind of just citizen, as opposed to these fucking corporations that are killing us all. You know what I mean? Like it's a pain in
Well,
the
that's
ass. Yeah,
yeah,
that's unfortunate.
that's the whole point of the uproar of people who lives in actual London, who has vehicles and they do drive them, going to works and back and all that stuff. But then another thing is, I was saying to my husband, why they don't have this part where my license, where I'm from and where I live. So pay, like I'm a tourist kind of thing coming into to visit. You want people to come and visit you from all sorts of places, yes.
Yeah.
So charge us accordingly. I'm coming there one day in the God knows, I don't remember how long ago I've been in London, but let's say
Yeah.
once every 5 years. So fucking charge me for that kind of price because I don't
Yeah.
go there often. I'm not going there for business, and that's kind
Yeah.
of thing. You would think that they would be open minded towards it, but of course, you make one rule for everybody.
That's right.
Supposedly,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So yeah, it's really
Yeah.
tickles my. I get
Yeah.
angry, and it's it loses the idea of me. I'd rather go to coast than going to city. Like why the hell I
Yeah,
want
for
to
sure.
go in hustle and bustle and just completely go have headache because that's
Hmm.
how it is because everybody's just rushing around you and that's the one thing about London. You have to get used to that. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
people like just in front of you going around, and especially when you have a little child who likes to run away, it becomes a little bit more a job
Hmm.
than entertainment because you cannot,
Hmm.
oh, where is he, why is he doing that? You want to hold his hand all the time because you become like you do your parental duties.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
So the reason I was asking you that at first is because
Yeah.
now it's getting into kind of yard sale and garage sale season
Yeah.
here, right? And every
Yeah.
once in a while, I'll see guys online who find some incredible stuff, but like you got to like, it's your
Yeah.
weekend. You're up at 7 o'clock in the morning and you're going and you're spending your day going garage sale to garage sale, like hoping that you find one that has something that's really decent. I mean,
Yeah.
stuff can be found, but the commitment to that, oh
Yeah.
shit, blown away here. The commitment to that is unbelievable. Like the amount of work it takes to kind of just stay on top of making sure you visit every single place and dig in
Yeah.
everybody's garage for whatever they have is part of me, every year it's the same thing. Part of me wants to try to do that stuff, but I never do because it's like, oh my God, I just want to go and dig through a bunch of people's junk for an entire weekend, not really, so. But I'm sure there's some gold out there is the point of it. I'm sure there's stuff.
Yeah.
You can find some really good stuff, but yeah,
Yeah. I like
seems
those
like a
kind
lot
of.
of work.
I like to see those videos where people go in those fields where all of them set up and all that,
Yep.
like have those little things, and then because they know he's a regular who's putting his boxes down, then you understand. You kind of
Yeah.
know the destination. But when you go blindly without information, it becomes, if you can't find it, especially if you can't find whatever like gold as you call it, it becomes
Yep.
tedious. Then it becomes
Yeah,
like, oh
totally.
shit, will I? Is it worth it? Like my time
That's
and
right.
blah 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 and all that stuff. So.
Looking through the same boxes of shit that you see everywhere else. Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, cool. Your turn
Okay.
next. Hey, what do you got
Yeah.
next?
So now I'm going to talk more about the free comic book stuff I got. I have one more book I have, which we probably both read it. I'm talking about Batman stuff. But so I received a couple of free comic book days. Yeah, you have plenty of time. Paul Paolo is here. So did I make it in time? Yeah. Well, halfway through we are, I think. And
Loads of time, Paul. Loads of time.
yeah. And then I got to this couple of books I want to talk about. This was really very good impression on me. I think since I read Essex County, I have a very different perspective towards Jeff Lemire work. And
Yep.
Fishfly seems to be quite intriguing little, whatever. The beginning of a tale he's trying to sell to us. So all Jeff Lemire's work, and it's a atypical work of the way he does with watercolors.
Mhm.
And you have three guys that introduce you kind of thing going, three kids going for having like a candy. Of course, one guy has all the money in the world because he has wealthy probably parents and stuff, and another one who doesn't, and they want the same similar stuff. They're going to kind of a off license or 7-Eleven as you call them, and suddenly they go through it and they see this, and it's like this thing called like they crunch, and this slew of fish flies surrounded the place they want to go in to buy some stuff. And then of course one of the boys dares the guy who doesn't have cash, okay, go bare feet to that place to buy some stuff. And he said, okay, if you want me to do that, give me all the money you have and I'll do it. So it's kind of that kind of introduction to the story. And then of course to his and this kind of crunchy things, because I kind of imagine, because it happened to me not with fish flies, but I'm imagining something like which happened when I was kind of like living in my country as a child, and we were having the cottage ways to go fishing, and there was a time when there's this amount of flies was kind of surrounding me, and I like stood on a couple of them, and I heard that noise which I wasn't intrigued by. And then afterwards we jump into this guy who's lying down in the field, and he's been shot, and he doesn't know where he's gonna go, or he knows where he's going, but basically the survival instinct comes in, and he sees this fish flies once again on his hand, and they basically surrounding him by, and it's really kind of, and then he jumps back to the childhood. So I think it's one of the members of the kids who is going to be the one who's got shot. Oh no, the guy who got shot is in that shop. The kid who was dared to go into, and he's like, "Fuck, are you doing here?" Like, I don't know, maybe he knows it. Though he knows him, and he's like, I came for popsicles," and then we don't know. And there's the bang, and we don't know who got shot because there's a scene in here, and him running away being shot. Is he was shot or did he shoot a kid? So that suspense moment. And those kind of like, it looks like a little bit like a horror suspense type of a storyline, and then you see another girl who's probably another character. So very intriguing, to be honest. I really enjoy, as I say, I have really different way of looking at it. This is the end page for you to entertain. So was he killed? Who is she? What's happening here? Why fish fly is such a integral part of the storyline? It looks like a little bit creepy, but intriguing enough. So
yeah, for sure.
One of the free and nice to have one of the free comic book day, which is completely Image Comic free comic book day. Once they really good introduction to the new upcoming series, and it's fully only just the story and advertisement to when it's going to come out in July. Six. What? It says 6 giant-sized issues. So 6-issue story by Jeff Lemire by Fish Flies. And look at that, the creature.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah,
intriguing.
Are you gonna pick it up?
I probably will, because I'm not really sure, because if it's now, I just realized there's 6 issues, so I might just wait for the whole thingy, like the whole thing coming out. Because Jeff Lemire's, I read him in single issues. I think he was, is it Royals? Something like that. Something he came out with a story about the family in Image Comic Books I was reading about, but I completely lost the train of the thought of it. And because I read Essex County, the whole thing, and it was extremely intriguing because I read from the beginning till the end. So I'm thinking maybe I have to wait, but I'll see. Probably it depends. It's very intriguing to me. If it says giant size, I wonder how many pages he's gonna use in one issue. That will make maybe. And you have a Peach Momoko cover, which is absolutely
looks great. Yeah,
it's really
That'll
nice.
sell out quick.
Yeah, so July, Fish Flies by Jeff Lemire. It's intriguing. I mean, it's really kind of. Really easy to kind of in a way understand characters, boys, and their parts, and something really bad happens in that shop, really, because like you have that moment where he says, why the fuck you being here, and he enters in here. So never know what will be. Is he happy? Is he with Jeff Lemire? Usually quite intense feeling wise, because Essex County had grabbed a couple of like I was like, oh my god, I was rooting for one guy, and I was like, oh my god, this is gonna happen to him, and then you find out he uses kids, and when you're a parent, I think it will a little bit more gets into you, like
Oh God,
because if something happens to a child, especially, or a child is not in the best place of living, like for example, so it kind of like gets you to that point. But yeah, really good one of the Free Comic Book Day ones.
I wasn't totally sold on it. Like it was intriguing, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna pick it. It's maybe one of those where I'm gonna wait and see what people say about it, because it was interesting enough, but it didn't really like grab me as much as I thought. But yeah.
Well, all the different things. I don't know. As I say, you haven't read this Essex County, and I think
I haven't, unfortunately, no, and I really should.
And it's gonna have the library has it. I bet.
Oh, for sure.
You would have it. So if you don't have it, if you feel like it, honestly, it reads really fast, and it's quite a chunky read, Essex County. But I highly recommend. That was really one of the, for sure, extremely good start for the guy. The way he introduced himself to the public. So yeah.
Right. Andrew Lopez, we do have estate sales here. I don't follow that kind of thing too much. I have been to one before, and honestly, it was a little weird because I mean, you're dealing with like you're going through a guy's stuff who's died, and you're kind of like, hey, and you're getting these deals on stuff. It is the one where I did find some comics. Like I found like the first Spawn #1 for like $1. I found that Defenders, the first appearance of Valkyrie, for like $1. You know what I mean? So I did find some good stuff. So I'm sure there's. But again, there was just something about that experience of all these strangers going through somebody's stuff that was a little, it was a little off-putting for me. So I haven't really dug to see, but they do exist here. And then interesting, I didn't get a chance to pick that up. July, so it comes out in July. Did you have another Free Comic Book Day you wanted to talk about?
I have several more.
Yeah, please keep going.
Do you want me to continue?
Yeah, sure, keep going. Yeah.
This one I have not much to say because I have this actual #1 issue. So it reprints #1 issue of Saturday Turtles thingy, Saturday Morning Adventures. So it reprints that, but also reprints, apparently there's new TV series as well.
Damn, why didn't I get that one?
You should, because it's fun.
Yeah, I should have. Yeah.
And you should introduce that to your daughter as well. And there's a new story, Rise of the Teenage Mutant. It's Nickelodeons. They come out with the Turtles cartoons, but they make it in the comic book format. So there's 2 stories in this. So not much to say, but because as I read issue #1, I thought there would be something new, but I always pick up Turtle book because
for sure.
Never know. Sometimes you get surprised. I also pick up because it's why not? I am a Star Trek fan, so they're introducing new event apparently, because now Star Trek is that big that they have to have events because there's several books now on the shelves. If you didn't realize, there's plenty of them actually. I highly recommend. I read issue 1 and it trumped. I was really reminiscent to point of having. It doesn't have. I'm sorry. I'm looking for advertisements to show to you if they have that. But they are advertising even the comic books they did for the new shows. That came out. But anyway, it's an introduction to a new event. It's called Day of Blood Prelude, and Klingons and Caliph, and that's of them having to that figure who basically make Klingons who they were and how what they see and what they believe in. And there's this captain who's basically, to my surprise, following son of Worf. What is his name? Oh yeah, Roshenko. So his granddad, the Worf was adopted by a Russian couple, called
Okay.
Roshenko, and they
Uh-huh.
he had a son. If you're a fan of Star Trek, he had a son who is basically, and his mom died, and he said he is who didn't get along with his Worf, because Worf is all about his duty, and he was being part of the next generation, and his son was brought up by his adopted parents or grandparents, but he
Hmm.
had a really different point of view to what being a Klingon is all about, because he never felt he's being part of it, because Worf had all sorts of problems with his name, and the name part of the Klingons was very important. And even the Worf in his new series has not new series, but in his history of Star Trek, he had changed the house in order to basically clean his name, because his father was accused of murder, and that wasn't good enough. But anyway, so his son is becoming an evil, and Kahless comes to basically return Klingons to their rightful place. So they're gonna go, I guess, against war against all the Federation and everybody surrounding them. So amazing, to be honest. I really enjoyed this, like, really small story, but it really
Hmm.
helps if you know the history of Star Trek, for sure. And the
Yeah, yeah.
event has even the list of that. And also, and there's a TV show, uh, Lower Decks, which I don't
I've
watch.
heard about it. Yeah, I've heard it's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, I know it's amazing, but I'm really tired of animated TV shows.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
my, my husband's watched it, and he said, "Why don't you watch it? Because you are Star Trek fan." I was like, "I can't do it. It's
yeah,
animated.
yeah.
I don't want the real thing," kind of thing,
Right.
not animated. But apparently, it's hilarious, and you get this a fresh story here as well. I think it
Hmm.
is fresh, but I can't tell you for sure because I don't watch the series. But this
Yeah.
is still it's exactly what you see on the telly, of course, because they have true art, true the same art style as it is in TV
Oh,
series.
okay.
So yeah, all this what you get in this one.
Seems like a
Um,
beefy issue.
yeah. It's not bad at all. But it
Yeah.
has two stories. As you see, the fish flies were one story. Then
Yep.
I got Fabulous
Yeah,
Freak
you got that
Brothers.
one. Yeah, sweet.
I'm curious because they're apparently re-releasing. Apparently, the Fantagraphics is going to release the whole shebang of the Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers, and
Yeah,
this
they've
is
got these
quite a
hardcover
lot.
collections. Yeah.
And I have to admit, I haven't read all of it because this is a lot. You
Yep.
get pages after pages, black and white, color, all few, and I want to take my time. I don't, I like, it's lots of information. It's jokey. Sometimes with joke comic books, sometimes I don't understand the jokes. I need to reread them a couple of times. But seems to be so far where, like, I read a couple of the first story and it was quite intriguing to me. So, and I kind of want to, I guess, dabble more into underground stuff. And it's free comic book day, and my comic book I wasn't at all saying that I can't have it. If you want it, you can have it, he said. So he
Yeah.
sent me that thing. That looks interesting.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's
Becomes a
great. I
suicide
mean,
bomber.
it's a really good intro into like the world of undergrounds because it is
Yeah,
really jokey and gags
yeah,
and
yeah,
like it's so much
yeah,
fun. I mean, that was one of my intros into
yeah.
undergrounds as well too,
So
so it's
yeah,
a good way to start.
and this is how we're gonna
Yeah,
read.
there you
It's
go.
really looking nice. I mean, Fantagraphics is doing great, good releases again. So,
Yeah.
and that's the world of them. So it's quite a lot of work to have to. Anyway, so yeah, it's interesting enough. So I had to pick that up. And the one thing which I really was looking forward to the most is this.
Aha, here we go. Yeah, it's the
Recommend.
one I'm curious the most about what you thought of it.
And Max Furama. So Max is done Ape Sapien for Dark Horse, the Hellboy universe. He has been in the Hellboy universe as an artist as well. So that's another selling point. To be honest with you, I am confused to understand what's happening, but I'm intrigued with the world. I have a really cool. This pages with this pigeon family. Are they pigeons? They look like
I think
pigeons, don't
so.
they?
I mean, yeah, they do. Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of like those creatures. The family who's been seems to be under great strain because they are sacrificed. I think they are the flock which being basically they take them and to sacrifice them, isn't it? That's my understanding. And the family, and it seems to one of the black sheep, not the son who they don't want to see for some apparent reason, is being kicked by dad really nicely. I mean, it's proper fight scenes and stuff. And something happening here, which I'm extremely intrigued. This really like the whole world they already have kind of like they showing to you. That's extremely intriguing. And this part where you have, this is what Max Furama is absolutely amazing by. This kind of like flowy hair with the flames, and his art style and generally is absolutely, just for that, I'm already intrigued and I definitely want to know. I'm not sure what I've read, to be quite honest with you. I don't know the storyline. If I got a clean idea, like Fish Flies was really easy for me to understand in a way. What can I expect from the series? This seems to be too big to understand from this one. It's just like a sample, really, like those. I'm very intrigued about the dad and his affair and who the hell she is. Is she the affair chick he's going to meet and she spots them, or what's happening? And she's like 18 and she still comes to the age. Apparently dad has this huge, like, extra, you can see powers of a flame. And I honestly, to be honest, I fully understand or grasp the idea, because it seems to be overwhelmingly a lot of information without us getting a lot of it. But it looks intriguing. That's my take on the series, by the way. And you?
Yeah. I mean, about the same thing. Like, it was a lot to kind of wrap your head around. I'm looking forward to this one. This is one that I would absolutely pick up just to try it out, because I loved it. The art style was great. It seems like there's a bunch there. And like you were saying, like with those gods and stuff, if it is this thing of these bird people are like the people that get sacrificed, I'm assuming it's to these gods and that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm very curious what the hell it's about.
Yeah, and I mean, as I say, I followed Rick Remender for the only thing I have. There's two things which I never went into. Oh, there's quite a few actually things I have not completely.
He's done a lot, man, when he puts it all in the back like that.
Yeah, but these series I cannot stop thinking about. I'm still loving it. Every single time I see it, it just makes me think about it. Absolutely love this series. Black Science, I think, is great. Lost me with Scumbag. I'm not sure.
Yeah, same with me. I stopped. Yeah.
7 to Eternity. It might be kind of similar to. I hope it's not similar to that, because I lost it, and apparently people saying it's really good. You should read it. And Death Glory, I wasn't into it from the beginning. I didn't. I couldn't just. I don't know. I wasn't into the character at all. It wasn't working for me. And Loeb, unfortunately, saying that, I don't like to say that, but Tocchini's art wasn't for me, and I could not concentrate.
Right. Yeah.
That really is. It's horrible. It's a horrible thing to say, because I know how difficult
it goes.
To work the art and all that stuff, but I can't. Tocchini, I'd never get into it. I just cannot.
I loved his art in that series, but that said, I never finished it. I
and
got however many issues.
Avengers hardcover is coming out, deluxe one in August. So if you guys haven't read it, highly recommend to read that. That was great. And this gets reprint, by the way. You see, deluxe hardcover edition sale in November 2023.
My favorite, man.
It's been a lot of people weren't able to get hold of those beautiful hardcovers from Dark Horse, and now it's getting released by Image. Let's just hope the quality will be as similar as what Dark Horse did, because Dark Horse did a stupendous job. So there's lots of work.
Sorry.
No,
sorry,
okay.
Go on.
No. So lots of recommended stuff, and I'm been missing him in the pull list, so I'm definitely gonna have him. I'm always gonna try and see how far I can get into it. But this seems to be something I've like a part of. Let's say, can you compare to what series he's been producing in this kind of like a medieval sized kind of sense? Maybe 7 to Eternity would be something more of fantasy stuff he was doing.
Right.
But yeah, I'm intrigued what he can come up with. But yeah, from the picture in here, it looks like that they are the ones who've been going to be sacrificed, because the way they've been selected towards the gods and all that, all those beings. So yeah, it's kind of confusing, but it's good to try. It's a free comic book day book. Number one issue will be out and about, and then you'll have at least more idea of the characters for a bit. The kid, the
Mhm.
18-year-old girl, seems to be intriguing for me enough because she's rebellious. And when you have
Mhm.
rebellious character, you never know what's going to happen. It
Mhm.
just makes it more intriguing. But art-wise,
Beautiful.
I am for sure no, you're never going to be disappointed by, because Ape Sapiens work by Max, I think it's one of the brothers, they two of them. So I think I'm hopefully right on that point. But one of the brothers did the Ape Sapien work, and it looks just
Yeah, cool.
blended.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Donald is saying, where did it go there?
yeah.
Donald is saying, bought a box of comics at an estate sale that had Uncle Scrooge number 1, 100 comics from 1952 to 1962, and paid $300 for.
Yes.
That's incredible. Holy
Yeah.
shit. If it's in the same vein as Seven to Eternity, I have hopes for it.
Yeah.
But to be honest, Seven was the only series I've read of his that he ended it well. Yeah, I would like to read that whole thing for sure. It was great when I was reading it, but I think I only got like the first, I don't know, 4 or 5 issues or something.
I don't know why I dropped it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was probably the time I was dropping everything, I think is what happened
I
with me
think
with that
it
one.
might have been
Yeah.
that as well for me.
Yeah.
But I think I know why, because I kept this Deadly Class and Black Science in the same pool, and Seven to
Okay.
Eternity came because he was doing like fleshing out quite a few comic books in the same kind of like almost all the same time. So I had
Right.
to pick which issues I care most, and then of
Yeah,
course I
something
finished
had to
Deadly
give.
Class, and I loved it. And then of course in the Black Science as well, which it wasn't a strong ending, I think, on Black Science, but I still enjoyed the series. So
Yeah.
and I went through the whole, and this is he says it's an ongoing series, so woohoo. I might go for
Yeah.
I went for the ones I like of Rick Remender. I go all the way in. So
Right.
let's hope it's not going to be. I mean, even
Well, that's
though
the
I
thing.
enjoy
Let's
long
hope. Yeah.
series,
Yeah.
I do enjoy them, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, especially if he goes all in, right? Like it could be incredible, Yeah.
But it seems to be he took a break for a reason, and I think
Yeah.
you kind of there's an idea of Rick Remender's writing. We always know that he has this fatherly family kind of business going on with your psyche, because he's been through that. He's been depressed. I
Right.
went through that kind of stuff, and kind of works. It's his strength of this, because he actually understands fully to what feeling of that is, and he didn't have the greatest of. It seems to be
And I
childhood or
imagine
anything.
after finishing a series like Deadly Class that went so long, you probably want to take a little bit of time
Yeah.
off to like, okay, that's done. I just got to take a breather, like just to kind of step away for a bit. Everybody needs a summer vacation.
Exactly, and also he knows who to have as an artist, and the Fuyama is definitely going to be a stunning thing to look at in the pages for sure. This is already showing you great works of art from his point of view, and he's going to play with panels, and he's not afraid. I think usually with Rick Remender, it seems to be he let the artist to go through whatever they want to tell the story as well, what he's written. Of course, it helps that Rick Remender is an artist as well, so they have that good relationship working for them both. So
yeah, totally.
I'm looking forward to definitely. I'm actually excited to have
well.
Rick Remender's book in my pull list.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I'll definitely be adding it to the list for sure. I mean, because it's really thin these days at 204. There's not much on it. So
yeah.
When did it come out again? When did it say?
July
as well. Okay, yeah.
So 2 books. If as I say, 6 miniseries, I usually tend to leave it and wait until it completely goes. It has to blow me completely away in order for me to get it the first go.
Right.
But with Rick Remender, just because I kind of miss Rick Remender in Pullis, I'm definitely keeping it. Yeah. The new ongoing series, not saying July, this summer. So I presume July,
this summer,
August.
yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yep. I have one more book to speak about. You?
Yeah, I got one more thing too. Oh, another free one.
Oh, free.
Is that what you're saying?
No, free comic book day. No,
just another one. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go to this one here. I don't have too much to say about it, but so I got some comics from Jamie Yost, I think is how you pronounce his last name, on Twitter.
Mhm.
Just a couple of things. And one of them completed my series of Bow that
Uh-huh.
I've been getting from Viz. I think it was, how much did it go here? It only went 8. So he had I think it was number 4 that he had. Um, it was the last one that I needed. So I finished this series, and
Uh-huh.
oh my God, is it ever amazing. It's really, and it's one of those that it gets better as it goes on, because the art itself gets kind of more and more bonkers as it goes. So
Mhm.
the gist of it is that one of the main characters is been infected with this thing called Bao, which is this parasite that they put
Mm.
into a living creature, and it feeds off them and
Mm.
eventually turns them into this different kind of being. It's a classic. That's what the Bao looks like right there. It's the kind of
Oh.
classic they're looking to create a group of like super soldiers, you know. So nothing much different than what you've seen in a million movies and a million books. But this
Uh-huh.
one it's just so much fun, because this art style here by Hirohiko Araki, and I'm not exactly sure what
Uh-huh.
he's done other than this off the top of my head. I'm sure it says in the back of one of these books. Um, there's also this little girl who has psychic powers as well. So they're kind of befriend. They were on the same train at the beginning. They were on the same train that was kind of
Mhm.
taking him to this facility to kind of keep studying him and sort of contain him, because the powers that he's kind of accumulating as he gets closer to becoming this kind of fully transition entity are enormous. His abilities are much stronger than anybody else they've experimented on.
Mhm.
So they sort of come to meet each other on that train, because she has this powers. She's in the same kind of boat. They want to study and research her and stuff like that, right? So she's able to kind of foresee, especially when there's trouble coming. She's sort of like his spider sense to some degree. So then they've just built this really nice bond between the two of them. Um, and as it goes on, it's kind of, that's pretty much all you need to know, and everything else is sort of, it's not as important,
Mhm.
um, because you get the usual, this company is throwing these other superpowered beings at him to try to kind of catch him so they can kind of study him.
Mhm.
Um, but when it got to this, especially this issue number 6, there was something extra that started happening with this art where it became even more fun, like stylistically, than it was before.
Mhm.
You get stuff like this, these great kind of illustrations of him as this main character. Uh, Even the translation, so everything went to English, and stuff like that. It feels like this kind of book uh, may have had influences over guys like Brandon Graham, because there's that
Mhm.
sort of Amera manga type of look to some of this stuff, where it becomes something different than just a kind of classic manga. And the lettering for it as well, like the English, the onomatopoeias there for the sound effects, they
Yeah.
really change it. They do a couple of things to it. I mean, because it's all over the place, but it feels like they make it a little extra cartoony, and it fits really really well with the way that this story ends up going, because it does almost become kind of even more cartoony and unrealistic and more kind of fun, almost like not quite Looney Tunes kind of style, but it feels like it starts to lean more towards that, as
Mhm.
opposed to this very serious kind of piece, you know, talking about the government and what they're doing to people. But I mean, stuff like this is great. That's such kind of classic comic book lettering there too. So
Yeah.
super, super fun series. Viz has a lot of really good stuff. And especially at this time, which was what, the late 80s, I think, or was it early 90s for this one? This is 1990 for this one. So the original Japanese edition was 1984, and then these English editions were coming out in 1990. Any of these Viz that you see, they're
Mhm.
usually kind of maxi series, 8, 10, 12 issue kind of things. There's some that go longer for sure, but you can, it's always kind of recommended to give them a try if you see them for cheap, because they're generally pretty damn fun. And this is kind of a highlight just for kind of how bonkers some of the stuff gets. and some of
Mhm.
his powers are just kind of off the charts. He gets
Mhm.
these kind of blades that grow out of his forearms and things, and he's got this acidic touch so he can melt through steel and things. So
Oh
really
wow.
kind of just cool stuff, and visually it's really really incredible. So yeah, super fun.
It's that kind of style of art which I remember watching anime of one of my when I was growing up.
Yep,
It's really reminiscing of that style, and I was of course
totally.
watching of like this love story, of course, anime. I think it's her name is Candy. I think, and then the way they were translating it in my country when I was watching, which is was I don't know which language originally they were translating because in those times,
Yep,
I think it. So you call Candy Candy, and I still do. It's so ingrained in me because I love that story so much. It's very
right.
much of like a romantic, those like romance
Yeah,
stories,
yeah,
like of a girl of orphanage from orphanage she's like being kind of rebellious little one who never
yep.
listened even though she didn't have a parents. She kind of meets this dreamboat really, and
Right, right.
yeah, they have problems, all those kind of like stories. But
Yeah, yeah. That's teenage
as a
drama kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah, and I remember clearly how intrigued I used to be and how
Uh-huh.
because used to, like they come together and then they split apart, and I was like, oh, what's going to happen next? And then I was watching, like, intrigued. It's really
Yeah,
that the art style you're showing in that power. It's really reminiscing of that.
yeah.
I guess because of the
There,
era of the time,
and
they
there
were
is
doing.
there is a you can find it on YouTube. There is a one-off kind of movie of Bao as well. I have
How is
watched it
it?
on YouTube. Yeah, yeah. It's pretty. It's I would say now that I've read this entire thing, I
Uh-huh.
much prefer this like quite a bit more than the little
Mhm.
piece that I saw. It was good. It gives you a sense of it. They go kind of like the violent route, which again, it's not that there's not violence in there. There's a lot of violence in the
How you
comic
spell
too.
that one again?
Absolutely. Baoh.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I
OH.
found
Okay.
that the book was way better. And sometimes it's especially with manga and stuff like that, I find that there's a pretty
51
thin
minutes.
line. Is it 51 minutes? Yeah, yeah. It's a pretty thin line sometimes between the book and the kind of the
Oh,
movie or the show that they do. They're
yeah.
usually kind of on par with each other.
Mm-hmm.
But this one was I felt this was much stronger as a book than the movie. But yeah, you can check it out though because it's
Mm-hmm.
free.
I
Yeah.
just while you were talking about even I was listening to you, but I went to my
Yeah. Yeah.
library's app and I found all the recommended Seven to Eternity. So I'm
Oh,
gonna read them
sweet.
all now because I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
now also I love the art. Jerome Pena
So
kills the
good.
art. I
Yeah.
remember I loved the art, but I don't know why the story wasn't dragging me to the point. But then I'll find out now.
Mhm.
Hopefully, as soon as I can be able, because I reserved, so I have to pay a fee, but it doesn't matter. I can get them
Yeah.
and start reading them. So,
The
so
the
the one.
hardcover, or are you getting the soft cover ones?
No, the library usually have soft covers
Oh,
most
they
of the
do.
time.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
do have lots of hardcover stuff, but they tend to have the image stuff or the DC and Marvel in soft covers,
Right.
unfortunately. But it's okay. I mean, I don't have to
Yeah.
pay the
Still
full
read it.
price for it, so I can still read it. So I'm
Yeah.
actually kind of looking forward to it now. Seeing all these pictures in that free comic book day, I guess it's like, why didn't I finish it? So it's a
Yeah. Yeah.
tremendous book. So the last
Yeah.
book I
Totally.
got this. Did you receive this?
Hey, I did. Yes.
You probably read it.
I didn't bring it outside, but
Yeah, but you did
number
read it.
6, right?
Yeah,
I did.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's
yeah,
one issue left.
yeah, exactly. So it says in here that it's a prelude to the last issue. Okay, this is a little bit too much gimmicky, but this is the famous cover
Uh huh.
of the
Uh huh.
Hulk and the Wolverine. So
Oh,
they did the
right.
same
You know
thing.
what? I didn't even think of that, but you're 100% right.
Yeah, I was when I saw the reflections, like, oh, come on,
Of
people.
course.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
No. Now,
I
of
get the
course, I
point.
see it now, and of course, that's what it is. Yeah.
And I wish they would have made this as a cover. If you make the gimmick, come
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
put that
Yeah.
on the front. Or maybe there was a cover. I don't know. I just get usually A covers. I because of the turtles, I always get the A covers, not no B covers. So I just
Okay.
go in
Yep.
that one fashion. But anyway, there was lots of reading in this one. I wasn't expecting, but I kind of understand because there's only one issue left.
Yeah.
Lots of coming back to Ra's al Ghul and he who is
Love it.
whatever he was. And so funny how petty Batman is and pissed off with his computer, who's basically
Huh.
going for trillions of information he has, especially when Alfred is trying to explain to Batman, come on, listen, we're going off a time where, you know, you know, the what is it called? What is he called? Genghis Khan. That's the name I wanted. So like the time from
Yeah, yeah,
Genghis Khan. What you expect? You know, it's a bit slower when you. No, it's like too slow.
yeah, yeah.
It's a hilarious fun. So we have the blade and the what they call them, the the brood. Is it the brood?
I can't remember. Yeah,
Yeah, something like that. Those guys who's after
yeah, the minions or
the
whatever. This
yeah.
cult or whatever the hell they are.
I
Yeah,
honestly, this is the best series, by the way.
yeah.
Of
It's so great.
Yeah, it's the best of
I
that
want
stuff.
so
Like
much more. I don't want it to end, and I
yeah,
want more. Like I want like
yeah.
just do a long form. Give me 100 issues of this. I'm done. I easily buy it. Easily.
Yeah, it's really the story is great. First of all, it's
So
quite
good
complex. There's lots of stories going on. So you have Robin's story,
for sure.
you have a
But it's
penguin's
easy, like we've talked about before, though. It's easy to
yeah,
understand. It's not confusing. Even
yeah,
with those storylines, I'm never confused.
yeah. I'm still my favorite character still is Croc. Okay,
Yeah.
this he is still my it's so much more mystery to him from his series. They do not kind of fully like kind of you grasp the whole idea still, but they could have just gone further more with the storyline. The of course the Batman story with the Ra's al Ghul is the prominent story. However, I really enjoyed everything what I read. The Robin part was absolutely fantastic. I think this is the first time when the Robin really gets into a bad part. You know, when they basically employ him to sell the things, yeah, to make
The
kids addicted.
drugs.
Yeah,
Yep.
to basically pull the he's gonna sell drugs now. And he
Yeah.
doesn't really have a choice. And the thing is when Batman doesn't have enough patience, and Alfred's saying, "Why don't you just not do it?" But it's like, "I don't have time." And it's like, "Why do I hear hoops?" It's like, "I have no choice. I'm escaping." And he's basically on the horseback, which is hilarious. And then he runs into and this is what I really like about comics like these, because it's like those minifigures running into, and he's just dropping the sword into it and dissolves,
Hmm, hmm,
and then and you
hmm.
turn the page,
Don't destroy it.
don't destroy the thing, and you're like, ah, just like a typical
Yeah, yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So yeah, really entertaining story. And when the Robin gets like a proper dose of that, and how still the Batman is the bad guy really for Robin, because
Yeah.
too many things happening. And it's really nicely drawn Scarecrow, to be honest. It's very nice
Yeah,
cartoony
I like
style of
it as well.
Scarecrow drawn like this. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the end for sure. I'm not, and it seems to be everything is going to be concluded in one place, which will be interesting how
Seems
they're
to
going to
be.
tell. Yeah, going to tell the story. They're going to do that opening circus, which Penguin is the main guy who invested all the money. And yeah, it will be intriguing to see.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
Also, it feels like it's paced out really well too. Like
yeah,
oftentimes when you get to like the second last issue, it
yeah,
feels like it starts to speed up as they cram a bunch of stuff in. I haven't felt
yeah.
that with this one. I felt like it's been paced really well throughout these 6 so far. So
So
I'm hoping that that sticks for number 7 as well. It does because it doesn't feel like they need. It doesn't feel like there's a million questions to answer that you're going
yeah,
to have to cram that issue 7. It feels like there's
yeah.
enough for another issue. You know.
Yeah, plenty. And there's it's a pity with those ads, but there you can't get away from them. But the other thing is there's two artists who's basically doing this, but I don't see the difference between. I don't know, maybe I'm not looking great because it
Uh-huh.
looks so good, and maybe the way the style of art they chose to draw this one's both Anthony Marquez and J Bone as a pencilers are doing really good job, and inker is
Yeah.
J-Bone. So, the beauty part of this series, which is really works extremely well, and you don't see problems with the colors, is because Dave Stewart is doing it, which is amazing to
Yeah. Colors
employ
are
him for
beautiful.
this kind of series, because he has such
Hmm.
a caliber a cartoonist. You wouldn't think he would have enough time for these, but absolutely.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to get into something light-hearted Batman stories, I recommend this one. One more issue, 7 issues is gonna
Totally.
get collected, of course. It will be. And another thing, I don't know
And I
if you
hope they
know.
end up doing a season 2.
Oh, let's hope so. Fingers crossed for me. I definitely will be picking up if they're gonna continue doing the audio. But I think they've been doing those audio adventures before, wasn't they? Or is this just a flick, the first time?
There was a one-off special which I've
Okay.
seen, but it was really expensive. I want to say it was like $12 or $14 or something, so I
Wow.
didn't get it. But I think that's all that they've done. So this and that one-off special, I'm pretty sure that's it.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so do you know? So this is we finished talking about it, but do you know that they're releasing omnibus of a Batman animated series, or the whole shebang, the whole collected thing
Oh,
in one
really?
chunk? Yeah.
I did not know that.
And I am debating whether do I
Jesus.
want the chunk or do I not want it, because I don't have. It's very difficult to collect them in single issues. First of all.
Yep.
First one is the biggest thing for people, which I'm lucky enough to have it. I have the first appearance of Harley Quinn, which is part of that run. And but then it's very difficult to get hold of in single issues, and they're pricey. I was like, I was remember always looking out, and of course eBay is high price. I don't know, because I'm not part, I'm not around, like I said, I haven't traveled to Mars and everything. I don't have comic book shops. No, I went to any comic book shop in a while, actually. But I had a hard time finding it. So I'm debating whether I want that chunky, it's like 1,000 pages.
Oh, geez, hey. I mean, I've got a boatload of those, and I still would like to have that omnibus to get it all in one chunk, honestly.
36 issues with all, and with specials as well. All specials are there.
Oh, right. Holy shit. 36 issues? Is that what you said? I think my internet connection might be breaking up a little bit on this end.
Okay.
Let me just have a look here while we're chatting about it. 36,
Yeah.
hey? Yeah, I guess that makes sense, because then they did stuff after that too.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's just the number, but they're saying which is the website? Because I've already been looking.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, so I guess I'm lying. I've got all 36 of that first
you
one.
do?
Well, sorry, I take that back. Of course, I'm missing one of them because I sold it.
Yeah.
So the first Harley Quinn, I sold that one. So I guess I didn't take that one out of the rotation on the list. Yeah. So then there was a couple of annuals. Then there was a volume 2. Then it went in. There was some Lost Years, which was a 5-issue miniseries, which was really good if you can ever find that. Yeah, and then they did Gotham Adventures. That's the title of the other one, because then that Gotham Adventures went 50-something issues, I think, or was it even more? Let's see here. No, the Gotham Adventures went 60 issues.
Yeah.
So, and that's really good too. That's kind of like, pretty much the same kind of style. I think a lot of the same creators on it.
No, 1,200 pages, by the way.
1,200 pages, K.
No, it doesn't say a word series in this page I found, but it's coming soon. Yeah, so that's
that's very cool. I'm very, very tempted by that to get the whole
and then
damn
of
thing.
course the cover is the same as the number one issue.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's what's advertised. So I don't know if I want. I don't know. I do want it. I do want it, but I know how 1,200 pages feels like in your hands.
Right. It's a table book, and it's never going to open flat because it'll be a soft cover piece of shit from DC, right?
Yes, it's also DC books.
Yep.
And that's it would be Dark Horse, I would say, yeah, no problem. I probably wouldn't even hesitate, but that's why it's always that. So you never know how, I guess, because if you pre-order for one website I found, so I would have kind of a chunk of it less to pay for it. It would be cheaper until if I would wait until it comes out, and then the prices probably will go. Annoying.
Yeah, or it'll sell out and you won't be able to find the damn thing ever. You know what I mean? That's the thing with something like that. I feel like it might end up going that direction.
No, it will go that direction because it hasn't been. It's difficult to find them in singles. They barely reprinted many of them. Oh, they also have all specials for Harley Quinn, I heard. All those the key issue Harley Quinn series, you will get that in the omnibus. So Mad Love Story, which is
that's right, that one shot.
That will be in there. So it will be, as I say, her first appearance, and just because of that, I think it's just going to be a selling point because people want there's reprints of that, but I have even that reprint of this. So I have, I found it. I thankfully one of the things when I want something, I just went for it. It's like, no, I'm
Mhm.
not waiting for cheaper, even cheaper. Like you will look for the gold mines, but I decided to buy it, and I'm glad I did. It's not in the best
Right.
shape, but it's mine. Like I don't have to look
Yeah.
at those humongous prices for it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Donald Rex, have you talked about Maple Terrace by Noah Van Sciver? I enjoyed it very much. I don't know that. I don't know that book whatsoever.
yeah.
What's it about there? I mean, I do know a little bit of Noah Van Sciver, but I don't know that much.
Mm. Yeah.
Um,
I heard about something about that. It sounds familiar. Maple Terrace somehow.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe it was maybe one of these videos because I do follow him through his chat.
I know that Colin just did a video looking at the first Blab issue that came out, or this new first issue of it, and there's a couple of Noah Van Sciver pieces in there. I'm getting that this week. It's supposed to come into one of the shops this week because I missed it when it came out. Not many shops here got it, but I'm looking forward to it because he was raving about the Noah Van Sciver stuff in that one, saying that it was, kind of his place and Noah Van Sciver's place in kind of like 90s alternative comics and indie comics and things, and how he would fit just as well Van as he does now with his storytelling and stuff. Looked pretty good though overall, that issue. So cool. Do you have anything else?
No.
Yeah, nothing much more for me either that I'll kind of talk about later tonight. Thanks very much, everybody. It was nice to see you all. Donald, Andrew, Paulo, nice to see you as well for stopping in. Jackie O, Miss So. Jackie O, have fun for your solo camping. Don't get eaten by wolves. Make sure that you take care of yourself. Yeah, or bears. That's right. Yeah, or ducks.
They like to. Yeah, just don't have smelly food.
Well,
just don't eat smelly food. Just eat fruit.
Right, and throw your garbage way, way far away. Right on, everybody. We'll see you next week over on Rasa's channel. Have a good week.
Cool. Bye.